All right, we are ready to sell comicsgate books. We got Cactus Comics. Do I call you Joe? Because I know that's like your name on your
Hey,
profile, but
you can call me Joe. Shane Davis calls me as because he said that's my Twitter handle. So whatever works.
okay. Yeah, we're going to be selling I Vengeance. We'll show the trailer and the campaign shortly. We also got Octogone. He had to step out, take care of a little family matter, and then he'll be back to introduce himself. But also, we got my buddy HK Stash, who
Howdy.
has done two pieces for me. If you've seen the Thanos Minotaur, I'll show that in a minute. But yeah, if you've seen the Thanos Minotaur, he did that piece. Actually, had it colored by a guy that when I tagged him to thank him and show it off, he instantly blocked me. I guess because he realized I was comicsgate. And so I'm gonna forever kill that guy with kindness and keep sharing him.
Maybe that's his process.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and but yeah, HK's done amazing. He did a fan piece for me that I got as well, and yeah, look forward to another piece that will hopefully be in a Mescator campaign soon. So hit this guy up on Twitter. I'll share your link later. Phenomenal art. Be on the lookout for his finished. Was it Samus? Is that the character you're doing right now?
Oh yeah, I was doing a Samus piece currently, so I've been playing a lot of Metroid.
That makes sense. I was looking up that character, that like cat lady with like the overhead perspective, and I'm like, what is
Oh
that?
yeah,
I looked at the hashtag. I'm like, oh, someone's a horny boy today.
That's a good show.
I'll have to check it out.
show.
I'm about to start rewatching Attack on Titan. But yeah, and then we got buddy Chris Fisk, who
Hey.
I'll show my camera really quick. Talking to this guy, I didn't know he had an excuse me. I didn't know he had an Amazon link, so I got his standard edition. Think of Lady Death with their standard comic book store editions. It's like that. It's I don't know what you call this kind of binding, but like a kind of trade graphic novel binding style. One issue. How many pages is this, Chris?
54.
54. I am, let's say, halfway through. I started reading it finally today.
Oh, cool.
Maybe I'm like 2/3 through, but really good stuff. We'll talk about yours third. So we're gonna coin flip for the 2 stars, I Vengeance and Octogone Ryan here.
Awesome. I was looking at your art on the blackboard.
Shit. There we go. We'll definitely be talking a little bit about what I've read so far.
Very cool.
Great panel right here of creators. And Ryan, I want you to introduce yourself. Octogone.
Hi, my name is Ryan James, and the book I have out right now on Indiegogo is called Octogone. 2 words.
Yeah, that was funny because when I looked it up, I'm like, oh, wait, is it 2 words? And yeah, that's how I found it again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm a believer. Normally, for anyone that might come in later, see this. Normally, if I got a campaigns I'm showing off for people getting into Comicsgate streams, I probably won't back you. Not out of enmity or anything, or because I'm grifting you. It's just because I'm trying to make my own comic, and so if I buy something from someone, like I really gotta believe in you. But if I like you or your stuff looks cool, but maybe not my taste, I still want to show you off, help you get funded, whatever little bit I can. But these 2 guys, I really believe in their campaigns. I've backed them both, and that's why I started with these 2 guys for the year. So before we go any further, we are going to coin flip via Google for who goes first to share their awesome campaigns. They're both kind of in the same state as far as their goals and funding. And so I figured this would be the most fair way instead of, well, he's got a flex goal, he's got a fixed goal, he's got this much versus, yeah, not worrying about that. Coin flip. All right. Who wants the pick?
I'll do heads.
Okay. All right. We're going to flip. Heads win. So we're going to start with I Vengeance. And then second will be Octogone. Third will be Chris Fisk with his upcoming campaign. All right. So let me share the I Vengeance. Share screen. Sharing. All right. Now let me scroll up and take it away. Start giving us your spiel yourself, your outlook on being a comics creator, and then we'll just work from there and show the trailer and all that.
All right. I Vengeance is a story of a normal mortal woman that is going to college. She's helping out her grandfather, who's a World War II vet. She works a job, and so she takes care of him when she comes home, checks on him, does all that good stuff. And when she's home, a home invasion happens. And she decides to react because that's what she's trained to do. In Arizona, we have constitutional carry, and that's where the story is based. A lot of people own, a lot of good things happening. So it starts off as a home invasion, turns into a dark fantasy, whereas anything's possible. And the trailer will tell you more about that. But I wanted to create a story that made it compelling for you to want to know more, because it starts off with her wanting vengeance. She wanted vengeance against people that attacked her. And then she gets mortally wounded, and she's offered a talisman, an artifact. As she's about to die, she accepts, and that brings her to life because she turns into living stone. And she starts fighting mythical creatures that were created by magic. And then I get to interweave history and mythical people like Osiris and Set and Egyptian culture. And I even have Atlantis in there, but it's getting destroyed. And it's how magic destroyed the world. And then humanity came about. And there's a few of these creatures and artifacts, and they created magical creatures. So that's what it's about, the short.
Nice. That sounds really cool, actually. I like that you're trying to focus on a personal, like, you could have just made something where it's like, look at the hot babe and she does some powers. You know, you could be really low tier in the actual content. And so that's something that sold me, because hearing you talk about this, you put a lot of thought into this, and I appreciate that, because like Lady Death's cool, and I'm, you know, slowly online reading Polito's current run of, you know, his indie Kickstarter stuff, and as fun as it is, and it's metal and it's sexy, it's really low tier. It's just high production, low tier stuff, you know.
See,
it's like it's FAP worthy, and that's about it.
Well, I agree. To me, the piece Kanan White did right there, and I got Kyle Ritter to color it. He does Cyberfrog.
Mm-hmm.
Is that I wanted a picture that described the character. And so she looks normal. She's living stone. She uses guns because that's what she knows how to do. I like my characters to not be all powerful. She has no ranged weapons. And so I think it adds to it. And if you look at the art, you can see water and rivers and it burning and shell casing. And you can see what's in her right hand. She literally ripped the heart out of a person, and she's holding it. And basically, there's going to be a lot of bodies hitting the floor, people dying, and violent deaths, and werewolves and vampires and magic, and she actually loses fights too.
Awesome. I can't wait for that, because yeah, usually losses are just I just need to summon Super Saiyan 2, you know? And then I got it, you know. It's like, that's so cheap. So I like that you're like, I'm gonna have her lose sometimes.
Well, you'll have
that's
to
enriching.
lose to win. And I hope I'm not interrupting, because I hear a break. And so I apologize if I do. That is the Joshua Lamb cover with Stefani Renee. I spared no expense. I followed EVS's words to heart and how to create a campaign. You can see her arm is rock. That's her armored form. She's still using a gun, but I guarantee you fall from that height, it's going to be ugly.
Okay. Is this supposed to be? Because I remember here, I'm cheating a little bit because I've heard probably half that stream. Is this her just now starting to be able to figure out her powers and she can't quite like do her whole
Yeah.
body yet? Is that the idea with this?
Yes. She's only learned how to use one arm. She learns more later.
Okay. I like that. I like the step tier process of the
And-
thought you put into the power scale.
Well, I agree, and it's her armored form. She's still enchanted stone, so she's really hard to hurt for normal people. But if you're a werewolf, you're a vampire, she can take damage. Not as much, but she takes damage.
So what is the logic of the supernatural, like the werewolves? Is this mostly like this is all just kind of starting off now?
How
As far as like superheroes and whatnot and mythical creatures?
Yeah, you see superheroes in my universe, which will happen later on, towards the end of the book, because humanity created genetically engineered people to fight the dark forces because they knew their ass was grass. If they had to try and do it themselves, they would lose billions. So for the werewolf, all dark creatures, werewolves, vampires, all that kind of stuff, were created by magic. Magic destroyed the far distant world, which is in my world about 10,000 years ago. And then humanity prospered because they weren't getting slaughtered and enslaved. And then you had generations of these creatures that then basically became regular werewolves. My werewolves are different, though. They can be a wolf form or they can be a hybrid form. They are not invulnerable. And so, yeah, it's very much a fun story and a history, and I've mapped it out. There are not a lot of vampires, but they can create them.
Is that Atlanta?
Atlantis is destroyed. It got
Much
destroyed
like
10,000 years ago. But yeah, that's where they got their magic. They were seen as gods, and they thought they would try and control weather and earthquakes to wipe out human armies. Didn't go too well. They got wiped out.
Nice. Let's go down and see some more. Well, so what's going on with this piece? Is this like a panel from the story itself, or just another?
Yes, it is actually an interior page. That is a page. She's firing a Stern Conveyor 44. It's an 8mm rifle, and she shot one of the bad guys, normal human thug. He's actually a ghoul. You can see he got shot in the left side, came out the right, and she's basically laying waste to a bunch of humans and targeting and annoying werewolves. And because you get shot, it still hurts. And you can minimize activity, and then you go up and you just start killing people. It's all about where you hit it that matters.
I like this
That's
piece.
a trading card.
so
That's a trading card. Okay.
do the werewolves follow like the whole silver bullet logic?
Well, to tell you, I thought that a silver bullet is great. It will do more damage, but I hate things that kill a creature instantly or hurts it really bad. So to me, a silver bullet, it will hurt it really bad. It can't heal from it. Whereas a normal bullet, it will hurt it. It can even incapacitate it, but it can recover faster. And so that's how I have it. Silver will do substantially more damage, but yeah, humans think that's make-believe. This is when she's changing forms. That's Azevedra. Amazing artist.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
Very nice.
Yeah,
Good
this
looking
is-
piece. So it's the
Now,
one above
this-
it.
Sorry, wait. This one or
Yeah, that's a really cool looking one.
with this
Face.
one, is this like her transforming? Is that what
Yeah,
you're going for? Okay.
that's why there's multiple. I told him do multiple like changes, and so she starts as she's changing, and then the one up top, you see her body start to rock up, and I didn't want to show the full form. That's in the book, though.
Okay.
Sounds like she'd be a good crossover with Gymshock. Because Gymshock, I don't know if you're aware of Mandy Summers' book. She's got she turns into Diamond, and then she's having a heart, just developing her powers and just learning how to turn her body into Diamond and all that stuff.
Oh,
Kind of a
hey, Mandy's amazing, and I backed her book.
yeah. And it gives me kind of a little bit of a Spawn vibe too, like where Spawn doesn't want to use his power because remember at the countdown in the beginning,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and so like he didn't want to use his power, so he armors up,
Oh yeah. Well, the fascinating thing is I give a hint to some of the powers that she basically falls into, but they all have limitations. I posted some on Twitter. That's the Jimmy Reyes cover with the Stefani Renee covers. So for her, I very much want a character that's not overpowered. She can take on a pack of werewolves. She's going to get hurt badly, but she can take it on. She can heal herself, but she has to do certain things to do that. And in a modern city, it's complicated because, she needs that raw earth, the natural stone kind of thing. And so concrete, asphalt doesn't really do it very well.
What about vitamins?
Vitamins.
Flintstone's chewable.
Yeah. And so how she gets her powers, well, what's called the Shard of Osiris. And it's basically ancient magic from when Set killed Osiris. And it's one of his jewels. And it basically makes things really cool. Eternal life, You're living stone. You look human. Some people could see that as a complication or a flaw, but hey, I think it's fascinating.
So, like, if she had like her arm ripped off, is she just gonna have to like Deadpool herself and like wait a good while for her arm to grow back, or?
Well, the
You
funny
explained that in the
thing
book, I
is
guess.
about ripping her arm off, although possible, and there is a part where it could very easily happen. I'm not going to give away story, but if she were to grab her body because it's basically stone, and if she were to find natural earth, she could actually reattach it and it'd heal back to her body.
Nice.
So you got like a Sandman element, at least how like Spider-Man 3 showed it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think she could ever learn to hybridize with like you're talking about concrete and asphalt, these kind of like man-made lesser versions of the earth or what have you?
How I wanted to do it is I wanted to use materials they would have had 10,000 years ago. So that's basically rock, sand, earth. Although there's a part where she can control the consistency of the rock. That's how she gets her armored form. You see her armored form, it's like bedrock. It's the hardest rock you can have, but it's enchanted, so definitely strong. But she can also take it the other way. She's never turned to sand, but not saying it's impossible. She actually has a part in the book, and EVS says don't give too much story away, but this is fascinating. There's a part in the story where she focuses and she gets her interior, the inside of her body to move around, kind of like circulating blood, but it's magma.
Oh.
And so she masks as being a living person because she has a pulse, and she causes her heart to beat, which is technically stone, but it's beating and moving the magma around.
Hmm.
And she's warm to the touch like a normal human.
That's a cool detail.
Cool.
Yeah, because I
So
think
no,
about that when I was hearing you talk about this with talking about like Ben Grimm stuff. Made me think about Ben Grimm, the Thing, and it's like I've never read enough into it to know, but like, is he just solid throughout? Is he like stone or clay inside, or magma is an interesting idea, or is he just like solid stone throughout? So I don't know, it adds a lot of bio. I think about science and biology a lot. So when you get something like this, I want some kind of sense to it. It sounds like you put a lot of thought into this, and I appreciate that.
Actually,
yeah.
he's a Flintstone vitamin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I fleshed this all out when I was taking care of my mom during chemo treatment. So I was sitting there, and she passed from cancer. But when I was sitting there 4 or 5 hours, I'd be fleshing story out. And then when my parents passed and I recovered, I started writing everything, refining, doing all that good stuff, you know. I mean, there's a part in the book where her arm actually starts burning because literally it's like lava rock. So vampires tend to hate flame.
This piece right here, like, I'm sold on the Kane and White cover. That's like the best. But this one,
That's
I actually
really
really
rare.
like the detail that stands out the most to me. Aside from like, you got a good center focus here, but you also got the kind of diagonal contrast this way with the flames catch your eye looking at it, but then also the moon. Like, you just got a good fluidity to flow back and forth with the
The
eye.
important
eye
part
gaze.
is you don't have clouds behind it.
Clouds behind the moon. Yeah.
I noticed that. I remember that situation.
Wait, where is that famous from? I don't quite know.
It was on an EVS stream, and EVS was saying, "Where do you put clouds behind the moon?" And he was like, "You're a pro. You should know better."
Those are space clouds, idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? It's the Milky Way.
He's like, "You spent 10 years at Marvel Comics. You should know you don't put clouds behind a moon."
It's just it's a flock of Chinese spy balloons.
Yeah.
Ah, clever. That'd be funny. It'd be like a rewrite thing where it's like, fuck. Like Gene's guy, if they kept him in Mandalorian, didn't edit him out, they'd have to like write some backstory to this background. You know what I mean? Like, they do that sometimes. Yeah, and so that'd be a funny thing of like, how do I get out of this jam? I totally screwed up with this art piece. Oh, spy balloons. There we go. A swarm of them. I like stupid shit like Star Wars. I don't know where I've seen this, but like a little thing, because I'm a movie Star Wars based channel, my root, and one of them was like the justification for the obvious distinction of, and maybe this was somewhat implicit in the way Lucas wrote Star Wars, but it's easy to view the timeline as like, oh, this should be progressing technology, but it seems in some ways it's very backwards, because like, not only is the like art to make the films better in the prequels, but it seems like they're actually better machinery. And
like the Naboo fighters.
Yeah, the justification, whether it was implicitly story wise or if it's like making up for like, damn it, we totally messed that up, was that they were accounting for like the TIE fighters. Well, they were based off the Jedi Starfighter, because what a great kill ratio, not accounting for the pilots inside the ship. And so you counteract that by going the Persian route and just swarming people with trash, kind of like how America did with like M4 Shermans.
Yep.
Was M1, M4, whatever. The Sherman tank is mass-produced garbage versus the Germans' quality, but
Tiger
minimally
tanks.
produced Panzers. So
But
nice little detail. I like that kind of stuff.
you can have, for every one Tiger tank or Panzer that was produced, history's my thing, and that there's a Tiger tank right there, is that for every one of those tanks, we can produce 30 Shermans.
Yep.
And 5 Shermans
Attrition.
can defeat a Tiger.
Yep.
Yeah, I talk about
that right there.
I talk about that with Rookie a lot. My own interest outside of film with like history or psychology and religion. And I watched this documentary. I think it's like maybe episodic and compiled into one, but it's called War Factories. You should look it up if you love World War II stuff. And what was very interesting is that narratively, at least in the West, it's very common to like the Uruk-hai versus our band of fellowship heroes, or the Spartans versus the Persians, the rebels versus the Empire. You got quality but few numbers versus a swarm of mass production. It's supposed to be like reflect the inherent value of the sides. But in World War II, the Germans, because they hated capitalism and the mass production and whatnot, it went with their world ideology of like they want high quality. So they had like the best stuff, but it was a system that took years to even be a machinist or anything and apprentice through the system. And then they didn't set anything up to like repair their stuff easy on the front line. So they had to send everything back by rail to Germany to fix anything. And so it's very not cost effective versus we could just, swap out parts easy. And it's like, yeah, like fighting the regimes, we were definitely at least the better government than the Germans. But it's no one's ever really put that to the forefront in a documentary of like, wow, that makes me rethink everything.
Willis piece.
All I gathered from this conversation is that Naboo is Nazi Germany.
Jawohl!
Were we the baddies?
Yeah, das Chewbacca is verboten.
That's kind of why, Padme starts like thinking that, like, wait a minute, maybe the bad guys were right. Like,
Yeah.
But yeah, you were going on. Sorry, your Rob Willis piece.
Oh yeah, that's the Rob Willis piece with Stefani Renee colors, and big fight's been happening. Set is about 100 times more powerful than her, and he's toying with her. He sensed the shard she has, and he wants it, but he can play with his mill.
So, what kind of power does Set have?
He's a mage. He has a fully utilized version of what she has, because he has what's called the Jewel of Set, which is what all mages created, that gives him eternal life, makes him stone. But you get a jewel, if it's shattered, they become shards. See, Osiris, when he was killed, his jewel got shattered by Set. Isis saved the shards, and so now he wants to destroy that shard, which she has. If you have a shard or jewel and you know how to sense it, she hasn't figured that out yet, you can know where other people are. And that's how he ends up here. And that's why the city's pretty much ruined in that area. And all kinds of death and destruction, bodies littering the floor, and rampant killing everywhere.
You
With
could
these
say
shards,
that he was set in stone.
Hey, gotta have humor.
I was curious. Are you going to be doing like a simple, like the shards are kind of like light or dark, or are they just power, functions of power that are based on the user?
I do have light and dark. Osiris was light. He has light. His magic is very, very much life-giving, helping people. Like some of the things she hasn't figured out yet are life-giving energies and all that kind of cool stuff. Set, on the other hand, he's darkness. He created the werewolves. He created the vampires. He created mummies. He is very much all about creating catastrophes and death and destruction. And you have your basic stone form, and that's about where the similarities change. He's also a lot bigger, because you look at Conan the Barbarian. what did they eat back then? They didn't have a lot of pollutants. They ate meat. They did all this stuff, you know. They had a hard life. Set's about 8 feet tall. You look at her compared to Set, you can understand why this is a one-sided fight. But he does not want to just kill her outright. He wants to make a show of it. And I'm not going to tell you how it ends. That's a home invasion panel interior.
Okay. So I'm just taking it in for a second.
I think she looks great as a human.
Yeah. No, well, like not just like, you know, I'm a clown, so yeah, boobies. But no, I'm actually like trying to see all the detail and whatnot. I'm just like
I'm
being
looking
thorough.
at the M1 Duran there.
Yeah.
Well, that's part of what I was talking about. Remember, I said her grandfather was a World War II veteran. He was in Normandy. This is part of a backstory I've written out. And so she literally, on I think page 2 or 3, she grabs his M1 off the rack when she hears the door crash in, and she's like, I'm going to go handle this. And this is her handling it.
Kill those
There's a reason
baboons.
why they're there.
Oh, sweet.
You got to have a nice bike too.
Yeah. Oh, that is
If you
nice.
want to know the inspiration, that's a Ducati. So yeah.
Who did this piece?
I had Ted do it. He does great aircraft art. Ted Lehman.
Yeah,
I didn't
love
know
the
that
medals.
Oh,
Yeah.
Ted.
I really love the color job on this.
I
Yeah.
had Farah do the colors on that piece.
Oh, that's nice, man.
The lighting's fantastic. The ambient glow, the
Yeah, that's what I was catching.
sign.
It's like the amount of the no expense spare you're doing. Some of these pieces are just like they stand out. Like the Rob Willis piece. This is probably, I'm assuming, a big low point for her facing, I'm assuming, your main villain of the first story or continuing. And you're contrasting though with like he's got like some light purples, you got royal colors, you got like a nice dawn or twilight setting with this sunset or sunrise, despite the destruction around. It's a good contrasting, especially with your tiger tank and everything, and then the bodies, fine details, and then such like good craftsmanship on the body and the different muscles. So you got a lot going on here that is.
I love
this.
it.
This is a piece to ponder on for a while.
Yeah. A lot to see there too.
And I like how you've. I'm assuming this is maybe because I've seen this detail, and I know this is like a sign from a shard. But you consistently in this piece, and then maybe here I can't tell, and then here we got like a progression with
The
her.
Ankh.
Yeah.
With like right here with the specific style of rip in her shirt for the symbol.
Well, yeah. Because when she gets the shard, her shirt got ripped, and plus when she turns into rock, it kind of rips clothes up. So
yeah, I just like that consistency because, like, you know, if you read like Hulk, you could just that could be a detail you'd kind of forget, a cut here, a cut there. That's
I'm a
thorough.
detail-oriented guy.
Yeah.
I had Nerium do that piece because I said you do
nice.
such great wolf pictures. I wanted that. And I decided to not just make it a card if we reach that level. I wanted it in the interior. So I wanted to show some black and whites.
Okay.
That's Rod Looper. He's he's my interior artist.
Wow, that's a great page.
Sweet.
That is what's called a minion.
Is this your own creation, or is this based
Yeah,
on
it's
like,
my own
Egyptian?
creation. I told him what to draw, and he did it fantastically. He just got hit by a Ducati doing 200 miles an hour.
Nice. I like how you got like the swords closer and flying out of the panel. It's cool.
Mm.
More minion fire, or is this a different creature?
Remember that werewolf fight that happened falling off the building?
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's the fight, the scene after.
Oh,
Huh?
They're
Nice.
punching and fighting as they're falling, free falling towards the asphalt.
that's really
I'm just
cool.
enjoying this.
Yeah.
Awesome. So let's go over your covers and or your tiers. Then we'll show you your trailer.
Yeah.
So we got
Kane
the
and White with Kyle Ritter colors.
Oh, that's a nice one.
So that one, I'll show the full image up here. It's that one.
Yeah.
That's one I backed. All right. Then we got your Josh Lamb piece.
No,
Nice.
he's done a lot of Cyber Frog work. He is amazing in art.
Wow.
Pricey,
Yeah.
but worth it.
Yeah, look at the city detail.
Yeah, and it's like perspective of city. 'Cause you're like
Yeah.
going kind of down, but then you also got like out at an angle. It's really cool.
Yeah.
It's consistent.
Did they send you these originals? Like, do you have the original from like Jimmy and?
Well, they all do digital art.
Oh, it's all
And
digital.
so I do have one cover, which is the Rob Willis. That's my only original cover, and I do have like 8 interior pages that Ted did, which I happen to really like it. But yeah, so you have the Jimmy Reyes, which is right there. Hey, it'd be great
Nice.
if it was original art, but that is a knockout page. It's just you know that wolf's hurting when he gets clobbered.
That image in particular is why I ask.
Yeah,
Mm.
I wish I had it because I'll tell you, if the original cover doesn't sell, I'm putting it up in my house. But
Nice.
I'm like EVS. I'll sell everything on the campaign. I even have an EVS sketch card.
Nice.
Cool.
Nice.
Well,
Very
which
cool.
is the goal for 10,000. If we reach that high, I plan to make it a trading card.
Nice.
And then there's Rob Willis with Stefani Renee. If you've seen Stefani, he's doing the colors for Cold Day. What Matt? I mean, dude, his snowman. I call it Cold Day because everybody's cold, but it's Snowman. I backed the book. It's fantastic. It's going to be amazing. He does
Yeah.
colors. He's also done Moira, the wizard. His art is insane.
Mm.
Unfortunately, he's dealing with cancer right now, so he's a little delayed. But I'll tell you, man, the colors and how he brings everything out, and you're right about all the textures and colors and contrast. He did an amazing job there.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm sold. Clearly, but
That's why I offer a one of everything tier, because if you can't decide which cover, and all the covers are amazing.
Mhm.
It's sold several. I think I have like 10 of them sold so far, maybe
Very
more.
cool.
But
yeah. And then you got interiors.
yeah, those are my 8 interior pages, and I put a photo of them. And then you can also be drawn into the book, and
Oh,
I'll actually talk to you, and we'll create a story. And you can either use one of the characters I created, or you can create your own. I just give the option in case someone doesn't want to do the work. I think it's fun.
yeah.
So once you hit 10K, you're going to show the card.
Well, I will have the art in the book as as a thank you to Ethan and CG, because it was Ethan that got me to do this book. He said anybody can create a book. This is what you do to do it. You got to make sure you have great art, great story. You need to save up money, get the best artists you can, and then you have a chance. There are no guarantees. So to me, I'll thank the Frog Father for that.
Nice. All right, so I'm gonna bring up the campaign trailer.
Yep.
And, let me say hi to Edwin the Ace Aceveda. He's got Volume 3 coming out in September, apparently.
Oh,
Awesome.
yeah,
I've read issue 1. I haven't read issue 2 yet, Ace. But yeah, good stuff. Very much feel like Iron Man, Green Lantern. So if you like those characters, check out his work. He'll probably have previous 2 issues in that campaign. All right, let me share campaign. There we go. Nice.
I
Very
got
cool.
I got the same trailer creator that Graham Nolan used in Aaron Lupresti. So I wanted the best I could get. And everybody that has worked on my campaign is in CG, has been CG. And hey, I hope people love it and they want to back it. And I consider it a privilege to be able to show you this.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah. Who did your logo?
That would be Peter Gilmore.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Oh, cool. CG UK?
Yes. Same one that's worked on vampires and all Gymshock and done all kinds of cool things.
Nice.
It's awesome how much you're supporting the community. Really.
Yeah, every person, like I said, I'd rather give the money to a CG creator. We have a lot of pros. We have a lot of people that know their stuff. I even had just if I see a campaign that looks great, I'll share it. If you look at my Twitter feed, I talk about current events. I talk about important things, but I share a lot of CG creators. If I see a campaign, if I'm following you, if you show something that's great, kind of, I want people to see it, you know?
Yeah.
Totally.
Now, I will say this in closing. For my book, you might think to yourself, how does Osiris, which is the deity of life and crops and all that good stuff, and then yet she's killing a bunch of people and kicking ass, ripping hearts out, and she ripped a guy in half, and all that. You think, how is that good? Well, there's actually a little story about that towards the beginning, about different aspects. But with me, you can still be good and you can still do what's needed. It's how far do you go?
Mhm.
And that's where I like to have white, gray, black. And sometimes you do bad things to bring a good result, and it doesn't define you. Or a set, he's 100% black. He wants to enslave. He wants to kill you. He wants to breed, to create more werewolves, to do all that kind of stuff. And then you have Osiris, that was all about life and freedom and people having liberty, and that all was lost when he got destroyed and Isis's magic.
Is Osiris the one that got chopped up into 13 pieces?
That is correct.
And they didn't find one of them?
Well, that's part of the story now, is it? Future books. And you're correct about the history.
So the shard, would it be about?
It's actually a small pebble.
Oh,
Because it's about this big.
Oh.
And so basically what it is because it's an artifact, it's not his body. It's what he put his magic in to give him eternal life. And it basically it houses your innate power. So you lose that. See, if she loses, I'm talking with my hands when I get excited. But when you lose that, the shard, that jewel, your body turns to a regular human. You become weak. You might have magic, but you get hit by someone that is not human, you're going to die badly. And you'll get ripped to shreds. And so, yeah, it's another weakness I like putting in, because I like that, hey, there's limitations, bad things can happen, and you go from there.
Do you address it all? Like, these are Egyptian gods and they're real in this world and can manifest physically in the world. Do you address like religion at all with that? Why their religion hasn't been maintained in the world?
In my universe, this world, the reason why I said appears is because he's been in hibernation. When I say hibernation, because when the world collapsed and humanity took over, he was gravely injured, right? After the battle of Osiris and all that fun stuff, because they settled Egypt. But he was basically in hibernation. He was healing. He was not paying attention to the world. When you're immortal, 1,000, 5,000 years can disappear. They're not going to notice. So their religion has disappeared, but the Egyptians, the humans, remember them as gods, and that's where they get the mythology from. Modern society looks at it as, oh, hey, you worship the guy that had the head of a hawk? That's kind of weird. But yeah, that's how I handle religion.
I don't know. Hawks are pretty badass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, Horus makes a scene in the book in book 2 if we get there. I want to. I have it planned out the 4, and I can go continuously. It's open-ended because there's so much story I can develop and so many things that can happen.
He wasn't cut up into 13 pizzas, was he? That sounds delicious.
All right,
You mean
Hannibal.
Osiris or Horus? Osiris, what
Well,
Horus
Horus is the son of Osiris.
or is it the same person? Or is it
No,
the
it's
same
different
deity?
people.
Yes.
Horus is looking for the body parts of his son. He's looking for the 13 pieces.
Okay.
He needs to have a shard of Osiris to be able to know where parts of his body are hidden.
Mhm.
And then this is part of the story. I don't know if it'll come into the story, the book, because it says EVS says this is a building page, backstory, dialogue. But one of the reasons why Sek awakens is because he senses Osiris. And he's like, wait a minute, I thought I just destroyed that guy, shattered his gem. I ripped his body in pieces. It's scattered all over. They're all hidden. And yeah, he senses it. He awakens from a slumber and he's like, I got to end this. I got to make sure that this person does not survive.
Hmm.
Then he finds out it's a woman, and he's like, "What is this world? This isn't the world." Little change there, but that's one of the scenes.
Nice. Well, again, I shared. It's in the description. To back, I also put it right here. Go back. I Vengeance by Joe Cactus Comics. Let's bring us.
Thank you.
Now we're going to showcase Octogone. Sorry, your name's Ryan. What's your last name?
James.
Ryan J. Okay, yeah, it is that simple.
Two first names, yeah. I
The
get that all
guy
the
said
time.
nice. They named him twice.
All right, we're going to showcase Octogone. So yeah, walk us through this.
Okay, so the trailer, the elevator pitch of it is Land of the Lost meets Atlantis. So it's a lot like Land of the Lost, that the humans are the good guys, and they are thrown into another realm. And within this other realm are nefarious bad guys that are hybrids, but instead of slee stacks, like reptilian hybrids, these are all aquatic mammalian hybrids.
Oh.
And they are a product of genetic manipulation, and a little bit different than instead of hybridization and genetic manipulation being a good thing, in this story it's a very bad thing. So like within this enclosed realm, this hybridization has gotten out of control. So all of the humanoids have these animal genes like spliced into them. The Egyptian gods are like half eagle and half human. Like these are all like half walrus, half sea lion, half dolphin. And if we get there in the next book, we'll even have some half whales. And so the humans are the good guys, and they get fall through this portal into another realm. And it's not like a different dimension. It's more like a hollow earth, another enclosure type of situation. And they are captured by the dolphin hybrids. So the 4 dolphin hybrids that you can see right here, 2 of them are from the gold pod, which is they're militarized, and they are set up into these different pods that they have different leaders and stuff. So the leader of the gold pod is right in the middle. His name is Duma. And the leader of the red pod, her name is Sunset, and she's right next to Duma. And then we've got the good guy and the good girl, like in the background behind them. And that's one of our main characters, Ruby Freeman. She's the human that travels through the portal into this other dimension. And these dolphin hybrids, they capture the human. And they want to use her genes to develop different beings, like within, to basically to add talents or abilities to their race. And but the person that had discovered the portal, or how to open the portals, is Dr. Octogone. He's the walrus hybrid. So these two, the gold pod and the Dr. Octogone, they fight over the humans, who gets to keep them. And initially the Carontians, the dolphin hybrids, are the ones that have the humans, but Dr. Octogone vows, since he's been double crossed, that he's going to help them escape. And there's actually warring that or squabble that goes on in between, within the Carontian species. So there's ones that are just following orders, and there's ones that like or have their own agenda. And the part that like where they have their own agenda is Sunset and her, and she's the leader of the Red Pod team. So the Red Pod team and the Gold Pod team, they're fighting, and Octogone is fighting with both of them. And so there's a lot of action in it too. So there's a lot of fighting that is going on, and we're within this realm of genetic manipulation. So like there's a lot of different creatures and stuff like that. Like kind of just like Land of the Lost. There's like dinosaurs and whatnot in it. Like the same with Octogone. Like so in this realm, like we've got like Megalodon and like Pleurodon, and they also like utilize the animals, like a Gold Pod. Like they have their own pod of like orca that they use like a wolf pack. And Sunset, she rides a giant black manta. And they have submarine, like underwater vehicles, and they live like a lot of it's like how they live, like because they are air breathers. Like they notice like how the Carontians like have no noses.
Mhm.
They have blowholes in the back of their neck. And like so like what he's wearing right now is like a jetpack, but also like within the arm bands and stuff, like there's where it's like refining like oxygen, and it's like going to a cover, like a blowhole, like on the back of his neck, so he can breathe. And then like when they like go into their domicile and stuff like that, like you can see like how they live, like kind of half in, half out of the water, like kind of like I liked playing around with like the logistics of that, and just like world building, exactly like how it would work. Like I wanted to do like an underwater thing that like sort of made sense. I didn't want to just be like, oh, they can breathe underwater, or they like formed an air bubble, or something like that. You know what I mean? Like when I first initially started working on this was like before the before the Aquaman movie, and before like Avatar, the Avatar 2 and stuff. Like I just like heard about like these coming out, and I was just like, I'd love to see an underwater adventure that was like actually cool. You know what I mean? Like and I wasn't surprised. I wasn't surprised that like the Aquaman movie, like that it wasn't cool. Like the way that they like worked it out. Like the logistics of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
it's a horrible movie.
yeah. Like,
Avatar 2, though, I totally disagree. Love it. I'm a total show for Avatar.
Yeah, I couldn't think of Avatar 2 either way. Like I'm a big fan of Avatar. Like I thought it was great, and I like one of the things that I really wanted to do for like the last couple of years is release like before it came out. You know what I mean? Like just in case there was like sort of like overlap or anything like that. But I haven't seen it, and I actually like don't think I will like until this is released. You know what I mean? Because like I don't want to have like any influence.
You got your own specific little thread in the creative world. You got something unique, which
like,
is hard to do.
Like like crime, or like I know like a lot of like genre writers. Like let's say you write like crime or thrillers or something like that. Like they don't read other thriller authors. Because like they'll end up like plagiarizing it. Like eventually, like
or get
not
accused
even
of it. Yeah.
or get accused of it. Like like they don't mean to. You know what I mean? Like it's just like a seed in your brain that what I mean. Like later on, like you're like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if like this guy had an alter ego, and then you realize that you're pulling it from something you'd enjoyed previously.
I like that. That's funny because I'm a comics novice. Like here and there, I'd read like a Batman collected novel, but comics were never a thing for me. I didn't realize Avengers was like a world until the first Avengers came out, and then I'm like, oh, these are all together, huh? And I didn't have like YouTube access really, so I wasn't like digging into that. Never seen a comic store till I was in the Army. So For me, it's funny you're saying this because it's interesting because I am totally aware of like in just biology convergent evolution, but in writing, some people just there's been cases like how to say that the Your Movie Sucks guy on YouTube, he did this great essay about Kimba and Simba and
Oh,
what
yeah.
universe is that, and it's like, oh yeah, they just ripped it off from this stuff, and it's like, actually, these are totally different things. They do totally different avenues of thought, and Lion King is just Hamlet with lions, and this is so much different. But there's been cases or arguments of like Looney Tunes and Tom and Jerry, where it's like, well, I mean, yeah, they both did like some wacky piano thing, but there's only so many ideas you're going to do if it's just animals hitting each other. That you're going to come across this in uniquely, like DC Marvel, where it's like, yeah, maybe the template was ripped off, but they've done something totally different. So it's funny you say it because for me, being a novice, I'm continually trying to read more and more to get more creative ideas, or be like, all right, I like maybe this segment of the idea, but I don't like how we got there at all. So I want to like make it. I'm trying to come from like a Chris Nolan, like very meticulous and thought out, and how realistic can I make it in the universe before it gets into like, this is sci-fi stupid crap, that all right, it's a comic, so I can get away with it. So it's funny. Yeah, I really appreciate that idea, actually, of like, I'm trying to not cross anyone's creative circle, trying to be unique. And in my own way, I'm doing that by reading everybody's crap, because I don't want, if I cross the same like Venn diagram kind of idea, I want it to be, oh, I'm aware of that, and this is going to be different, So that's funny.
I'm not saying don't pull for inspiration. Nobody creates in a vacuum. You know what I mean? But like, just specifically underwater movies. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to eschew from.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
so you're doing
if I
all
can
the,
add-
are you doing the colors as well, or is that someone else? Okay.
Yeah. I'm doing
Nice.
everything except I hired an editor. His name's Vaughn Coleman. He's young, but he has a couple of credits under his belt, namely Hunter Ninja Bear. He was one of the editors on Hunter.
I've heard a little bit of that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good point.
and I just really wanted like a second set of eyeballs on it. Like not just dotting I's and crossing T's, but like just just suggestions that like I wouldn't normally think of. Like where like Vaughn, like he likes Robin, for example, like the Batman and Robin, like, and like he knows all the iterations of Robin, and like how one Robin became Nightwing, and then one Robin, you know what I mean, like all that kind of stuff, and he's read like every single Uncanny X-Men, you know what I mean, like things like that, like where I'm not really a big Robin fan, but I want my book to be relatable to the person that loves Robin. You know what I mean? Like, so I need that perspective. Like I need like a separate set of eyes on it to give me that perspective, and he really helped me with that.
I like that. I like that you're like trying to be aware of your creative shortcomings or blind spots.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, what caught me looking through this campaign is like, I love killer whales and octopus. Like, I can't swim, so I'm never going in the ocean. But all my favorite animals are aquatic. They're just so interesting. And I don't know if you've something cool. If maybe it'll inspire you some specific thread of a story. If you haven't seen it, Netflix. It was on there. My Octopus Teacher.
Right.
Have you seen that?
I bawled at the end of that one, man.
That was so sad. Like I didn't cry, but I'm like, oh man.
Wait, the
that
teacher
hit
was
me.
an octopus?
My Octopus Teacher, I think it's called.
Yeah, it's about for HK, I'll explain. It's about this guy. He was like a wildlife, like I guess Nat Geo or something like that, photographer. He'd been out to like Africa and stuff, but he's South African, and he's been to all these places he's like followed, I think Maasai warriors, and like how they'll like do like the most finite details in tracking prey, because like they're living in the desert a lot of times for big chunks of the year. And so it's like, it's not like, oh, you go to the Sahara, it's like nice loose sand, you get the dunes, it's like just cake. It's clay that's hard. And so you're not getting footprints and easy tells of prey in their past. So it's like the most minute of details that comes in later. But like he just got tired, he's stressed out, and so he just started swimming like he did as a kid off the coast of South Africa, and started bringing his camera, his aquatic camera, and then he like found an octopus, and so he like leaves a camera there, and he just keeps coming back, and he starts getting like a rapport with this octopus, and he's falling around, and then like one day he gets scared real bad, and so then he's like trying to like track it down. So he starts researching octopuses and what to look for of like their hunting to try to find it, and then he finds it again, and they like bond. It plays with them in a way, like, you know, it's like walking all over them and stuff, and just going about, and he's like recorded stuff that they've like never seen before in the wild, or maybe one time. And so he's actually had a very scientifically relevant case with this octopus, and because it's a girl octopus, they just, once they spawn, they die. And
I thought you were about to say because it was a girl octopus, they got married.
Wrong.
Love
Well,
is
that
love,
would explain it being on Netflix.
But no, it's the way you progress watching the story and his investment, you see like he lost a friend. Like this would be like
They had an emotional bond, and he was
Yeah.
incredibly an intelligent little creature that like blew his mind, like how intelligent it was.
yeah.
And
so-
here I was thinking it was going to be like RGE's book, you know, with tentacles and all kinds of weird shit.
Yeah,
Some of that
I-
Fudanari.
I'm with you. Like same thing. Like my favorite animals are aquatic. You know, like I love orca, and like, I'm obsessed with octopus. Like I have a big giant octopus tattoo on my back, and like they have like such crazy superpowers. You know, like they have basically like 9 brains. You know, like each arm and the brain like in the center. You know, they can change color, they can change shape, they can fit into something the size of their beak. They can spray ink. You know, they can smell with each little thing of their smell and think like with each little part of their body. And you know, it takes, you know, like an octopus that's only like 2 pounds or something like that. Like it takes the strength of like 10 men to like get the thing off of you. You know, if it's like wrapped around your arm. You know,
But it can
so
only
creepy.
count to 8.
right. Well, what about the suckers? You know, you could do that.
You know, it's weird. I was watching a thing because I actually have a potential spinoff idea that I want to do. It'd be like Mystique, and it's octopus based mostly. And I was watching videos with octopus. Apparently, they're colorblind. It's like some feature in their skin or whatever is like the light sensing for
Yeah, because
changing the colors.
they only shoot black ink.
Oh, wow.
They're not very inclusive.
No.
They should be shooting rainbows.
And
But
now it's
no,
starting to get like
yeah,
collars.
octopus by themselves are just such a wormhole to get into with so much. What's crazy about them is their intelligence, given that they're like a sort of a prey animal as far as their niche in the aquatic world. Like they are
So
predators,
vulnerable. Right.
but they're super vulnerable despite their intelligence, and the fact that like the way they spawn like a hatch of bugs or something, like they're mostly fodder for other animals being babies, and so they're not like learning like, oh, Pa taught me this. It's like, no, it's just they inborn like have this instinct to copy animals they've never seen. Like they know like, oh, I'm gonna swim like a sea snake.
But they're
now.
the they're the little small fry. What about like, you know, their big daddy kraken, you know, at the bottom of the ocean? You know what I'm saying?
I think, yeah, it's funny because it seems like kraken are just kind of stupid. They get big and make it, but they don't seem to have the intelligence like an octopus. So it's weird, like their specific niche in the world. And krakens too, because it's like, you know, at some point only like a sperm whale can take them out unless they die, and yet they don't seem very intelligent. They bite, they attack, you know.
My octopus at the bottom of the ocean is sort of like the guardian of. It's a little bit metaphorical and a little bit unexplained, but it's like the guardian of the portal. Like, so it's like basically kind of like a demon, you know, like
Acheron have you read Dante's Inferno at all?
yeah, like like sort of like there's a lot of literature like it like sort of pulls from like, and also like I don't know if you've seen the What If series on Disney, you know,
Yeah, that's pretty
like
cool.
you know where Doctor Strange, you know, encounters that entity that goes into him.
Cthulhu.
Yeah, basically Cthulhu.
Uh,
That's pretty cool. It's cool hearing this from you in this book. So like, what's your art background? Because like when I see this compared to like your cover art, this feels very like 60s, 70s, and it stands out from everybody else's books. This feels like retro art, kind of like it's modern and crisp, but it's retro, and I don't know how to explain because I'm a novice. So
it's a little bit retro, probably like probably a little bit older than you. Like I grew up in, you know, like late 80s, early 90s. So I like have that like 90s sort of style, you know, that I've you know been trying to emulate since I was a little kid. And I went to school for art and like did mainly like graphic design and video film art, you know, like video editing and stuff like that. And when I graduated, I got into the film industry, and I've been doing lighting for a couple of decades. And so I've been very comfortable, like in the film industry, and you know, put my art, sort of like put my art to the side a little bit, at least, you know, just a little bit of creativity, you know, in the lighting field. And then it was during the pandemic that like I had some time on my hands, and as a lighting guy, like I had a lot of time to like read and write, you know. So I've read like every Stephen King novel, you know what I mean, like stuff like that, you know, just on set. And
even the non-pervy ones.
exactly, like all of them. He was my favorite, and I say was just because of like I don't know what the hell's wrong with him now.
Yeah, it's sad. Never meet your heroes.
I
Yeah,
think he got run over
seriously,
by a
right?
truck or
Like
something.
so, but like it's so. Anyways, like it started out as a novel. Like so, in 2017, like Octogone started out as a novel, and believe it or not, like one of the key elements of the novel, which I did not incorporate into the book just because it's a little too on the nose now, was it was about a fake virus. So like part of it,
whoa,
Uh-oh. Shut
right?
the
That's
stream
called
down.
Dovik. The
So,
Dovik
like-
oh,
virus.
that's like Woody Harrelson level. That's interesting.
Yeah. Woody's my new favorite dude, right? Like what a stud. Kudos to that guy, man, for sure.
Yeah.
So anyways, like the humans like come through the portal, and the Krontians have them, and like part of like their propaganda scheme, you know, because like there's the like everyone knows about this giant fissure, and there's like a big earthquake and you know, lava and stuff like that, you know. And they have this like basically like this big like propaganda campaign, like scaring everybody that like the humans like not, you know, not only is there like these aliens like among us, they infected us with this horrible virus, you know. So like everybody, you know, freaking out, and it has to do like with the different the species are set up into like basically like city states, what I call them schools, and in like it was part of the uh, warring between the two factions, you know. So we have the Krontians on one side, and then Dr. Octagon, like he's part of the Chukchi clan. So the Chukchis are like the walrus hybrids, and like basically like to keep the Chukchi away, like from invading their school, their city state, is they come up with this whole like fake virus scheme. So that was part of the novel that like I dropped in as I was like drawing the comic over these last couple of years, just because like I didn't want to go there, you know, like especially like a year ago or more, you know, like before things have like really come to the light and like people are really starting to wake up, you know, like I didn't real, you know, I didn't think about like I didn't predict how things were going to go, you know, like I thought things would be a lot worse than they are right now. I think we're doing pretty good in the information battle.
Yeah. You. The tides have turned.
Yes, just like this a little bit. The wind change, right?
Yep.
What I
sure.
was going to
So-
say is that one of the things I like about your story about using the fishes and everything is it's a lot like me when it comes to story. You like to flesh things out. And I like things that make sense. So for what you've talked about, it makes sense. And how you bring in the water, you have the air, you have the different types of people and the different schools, which is how mammals and fish would be. And then, yeah, humans, they'd be seen as interlopers. Hey, how can we use these? And it's very much like Cyberfrog. Cyberfrog's not overpowered. He's disconnected for the first two books, you know. You look at society, same thing with Inglorious Rex. A good book, a good creator creates the story. He has the background. He tells you how it's going to happen. And then you match the story and the details with the art.
Sorry about that.
When did you first see it, Meth Gator? Like, I really appreciate you backing and having me on. Like, how did you come across it?
It might have been shared by a comics Twitter person. I might have just seen like an image. I'm like, what is that?
Okay.
Because I want to say I saw this cover.
Mm-hmm.
I might have seen this one. Either way, I was interested, and it was like I think I backed this one, but I really wanted both. But you know, limited funds when I'm trying to make my own comics. Like, I'd say that $10.
Like, if you don't mind, I'd love to show you a couple of the pages. Like, this is the
Oh,
the
wow.
original cover.
Oh,
Oh,
Look at that.
yeah.
Man, physical media.
Yeah.
Really nice.
Wow, that is gorgeous.
Thank you. And this one is more recent. This is the back cover.
Oh, sweet.
oh, okay.
That's
And,
lush, my friend.
One thing I've been doing lately, which is kind of cool, like both these pieces are on the campaign. Been doing this technique where, so when I'm doing traditional, I like to draw on the back.
Oh, wow.
So I draw on the back, backwards, and light box it.
Oh.
So, and like where you'll see like some of the stuff like I've inked, but that was just to like get some detail. Like, so like when the light is shining through it, I can see it a little better, like where like stuff is. Like I wish I kind of like didn't, you know, because this piece is for sale. But like, you know, it's kind of neat, like to have on the back like a little bit of the process.
Yeah, that's a really
well,
cool
people
technique.
like that.
Like
Yeah.
That's like old
Books to the
school
trade.
like printing. You know,
the
do it
book's
in
done.
reverse.
You know, but like when I got Vaughn, you know, he made some suggestions, and we decided to like add a few pages. So I'm in the process of like adding just a couple of pages. Like, so like this is one that I'm working on now. Like, so like this is my light box, right?
Oh.
And then like these are my roughs.
Oh, sweet.
Ooh,
Look at that.
that well.
Yeah.
So this is part of like where they're escaping, and we just needed a little bit more beats, like in between. Like, so this is like going like, this is like page 34. And the only thing that is that I didn't really think about on this page, which I'm going to have to correct when I flip it over, is the wording. So like where it says start and tap, like when I flip, when I'm doing the inks backwards.
Yeah.
But the order will be right. Like, so you see like how the orders are wrong. I don't know if you can see, like, so the whale hits them and then they're sideways, but that's backwards. Like, it won't work this way.
So you draw it manga style and then flip it over.
Yeah.
How'd you come to do that? Like,
all right.
the
reason why is like, so like when you're working digitally, you like flip it. You flip it to like make sure your proportions are right. Because like you're like dominant, like if you're left or right-handed, you're like dominant on one side or the other. Like, so things sort of like to lean to one side or the other, depending on your strong eye. And but when you're like working digitally, you like flip it, so that you can make sure your proportions are right. And when you're working traditionally, you like back in the old days, comic artists, like, they would have a mirror, like, on their they would have a mirror all the time. Like, so before you could take a picture of yourself or whatever like that, so you could like look at yourself like for reference or things like that, and you'd also like hold your work up to it, because you can see like all your like you'll see like different like proportional mistakes when you flip it back and forth. So it's just to save paper and to get more correct proportions, and draw on the back.
Very cool.
Yeah, I've never heard that. It's cool.
Yeah. I've just been doing it recently, just the last few pieces.
Nice.
I tend to lean right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm laughing because HK, I don't know if he's making a pun too. So
Yeah.
Oh, it works on 2 levels, I guess.
Yeah.
yeah, like he's probably just like in artist mode when he said that, and it's like, oh yeah.
I'm not in artist mode when I said that.
Nice black and white art.
Thank you.
Yeah, you could sell this. Have you thought about doing a black and white version too?
Yes, I have. I've had a couple of suggestions of doing that. I would like to reach my funding goal, and we can totally make that like a stretch goal or whatnot. To do a backlight version. Basically, like how I decided my funding goal was, I figured a minimum print run of 25 issues per cover. So that that was like the minimum print run for the printer. You could do a minimum of 25. So I'm ordering 50 books. So that's why I made my funding goal at 2,500. To make sure that like I still come out, at least break even, and be able to pay for printing costs.
Nice.
Yeah, ask Chris. I think about that a lot because it's like I'm writing it. I got other people who have to do everything else, so I'm like, I need a lot. Probably same thought for as with what he's talking about, like on the Zaid comic stream about self-funding everything and no expense spared. It's like I think about that a lot, and I'm just always stressing. So I'm doing overtime all the time, is trying to. This Spider-Man's got my meth gator coffee right there, my lunchbox. So
it's hard to trade hats, huh?
I know that hurt.
It's hard to be creative and business and promote and fund and fulfill and all rolled into one.
Well, it's hard to be creator and collector at the same time.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I'm actually right now before I'm gonna send your campaign over if he's not aware to Phil at Zaid Comics. Maybe he can get you on as well.
That'd be cool.
Help you out.
Yeah, I've noticed everybody follows you, Meth Gator.
Yeah, it's weird because I'm an OG comics guy. So my little backstory for me is like, Black Angus is who I am, and Meth Gator's my idea. The Meth Gator Twitter was my backup Twitter that was going to be just, I'm going to be professional CG, whatnot, and just follow comic stuff, share comic stuff, talk my comics. Just going to be straight comics. But then Black Angus got nuked. And so that's just the catch-all now. You get, the Shires of Flame, if you saw that. And then you get a comics promotion and whatnot.
Black Angus, your Twitter account got nuked?
Yeah, my original Black Angus account got nuked.
Oof.
Yeah, so I've appealed multiple times since Elon's taken over. I've gotten nothing, so I'm resigned to just think this is my account, and I'm fine with that. But it does get annoying because people, like one guy that I met on a stream, he's like, "Oh, I want to have you on." He thought I was like a new vet because I'm Black Angus, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm Meth Gator." Whoops! Like,
yeah, I was like wondering what your YouTube channel, because you invited me on, and then I was like, let me check out his YouTube channel, and I searched Meth Gator, right? Search Meth Gator on YouTube, and watch the crackheads that come up, dude.
That's
like,
right.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
I've actually never investigated Meth Gator on. So
Dude,
backstory for me,
like, they gotta be in jail by now,
Yeah, the whole backstory for me in Meth Gator is that, like, I've been comicsgate since I've seen bullshitters bring EVS on and talk with Richard Meyer, and then Jawbreakers gets talked about by EVS, and so Cyberfrog, Jawbreakers, I was there from the start.
Okay, so you've been into the scene.
Yeah, but for whatever reason, I've just never really crossed into the comic stuff, even though I've helped off and on do CG streams. But Meth Gator was specifically Red Gaze. When I first started, when I used to be in a plumbing apprenticeship, I happened to download his video because there's no reception in this building or plumbing in. And so I had it in my hard hat and I'm listening to the Meth Gator video about like the Fox News coverage of some Tennessee cops tweeted or social media posted, "Don't flush your meth, you'll make meth gators." That's the origin of that story. And I had essentially, if you'll get like the swamp piece on like the GoFundMe link on my page. I had that kind of image in my head from the start, but I could not figure out a sci-fi explanation of like, if meth heads have super meth, why aren't they turning,
Mm-hmm.
And so that was like a real, and then I started thinking about Fox P2 gene, which is apparently like it's in rats and other stuff, but it works totally different per mammal. That's supposedly where we get speech and whatnot. And I'm just getting way too deep and thinking, God, I gotta do like essentially a PhD dissertation research to like make this work. I'm like, no, I'm getting way too deep. Comics, like, you just do it simple, because the more detail with something like that specific, you're gonna get picked apart, or it's gonna not stick, or it's gonna be too in depth. And so then I kind of came up with like a TMNT idea of like, oh, it's just and then that once I simplified it, it became like a Breaking Bad potential of a network.
I mean, it's a really cool handle too. Like you saw it in the future too, because like it's gonna be a movie.
Right, that's totally unrelated.
Totally going to be a movie, and
it's
going to be right on the coattails of Cocaine Bear.
Yeah,
Meth Gator NATO.
It's actually perfect timing for my name. I definitely see a lot more, but I'm just now getting back on the YouTube and whatnot. Y'all are my first campaign stream for this year.
It'd be like more to come. It'd be like coming up with like your handle is Gator NATO before Sharknado came out.
Yeah.
God, I actually watched that this year. What an awful movie.
Wait, when you went into it, so did you lose the coin flip or to watch that?
Oh no, I'm trying to think what the story was recently. Me and Ricky, we watched DOA on Tubi because that was like Ricky has a damsel channel, and it's all about like the classic damsel in distress, girl tied up, whatnot. So he's always trying to watch new stuff to find clips to then make a video talk about, because it's a very specific niche, and there's a lot of horny dudes like, yeah, I want a girl with tape on her face, or I want her tied up in jeans, and this, like, he gets weird requests, and he's like, you want to watch it? All right. And so we watched DOA because it's one of those damsel movies, and it's pretty fun, stupid. I guess it's based on a game. And so we're like, hey, Sharknado, that's supposed to be like a stupid movie. Let's watch that. And it was like, what a letdown from DOA to then Sharknado. Right. DOA is like fun, stupid, and like it's sort of like RRR, I guess. What I've seen the clips of it, it's like that kind of ridiculous fighting, and like a guy like flexes his muscles and you hear like a sound effect. What?
Yeah,
but it catches you off guard. It's stupid, but like it's self-aware, fun. Charlie's Angels, Matrix. It's like a huge conglomeration of like references, but it's fun. It's sexy, but it's PG-13. And it actually has got a fun. It ends up being Taskmaster. The end of it is a Taskmaster plot, like Black Widow movie. It gets really dumb, but what a letdown from that to Sharknado in the same day. And then we're like on Tubi searching, and we saw Shark Side of the Moon, and it's like, the Russians, USSR sent like unkillable sharks to the moon, and so we're like, oh, this will be fun. We couldn't get. It was like 20 minutes, and it's like, man, they have like no acting presence of like we're in danger. It's just like, yeah, so we're gonna run out of air. We can't get back to Earth. Like, it's like, you don't care. I don't care.
I mean, that's very practical. I would be more afraid of running out of air than running into a shark in space.
Yes. This is the Sea of
like the movie
Tranquility.
starts out with like, the lab guys are getting attacked by the super smart shark men things.
The
they
shark
can't
men.
kill. And
So
somehow
how
they
is
just
a shark supposed to be on the moon? There's no water. It doesn't breathe air. And
shut
it's
up.
It's sci-fi. Yeah, I mean,
You're using
why.
your brain. Gotta turn that off.
Yeah, it's
they have shark tanks.
Yeah, so like just that kind of exposure. When I'm like a very serious film guy, it's very rare that I'm just like, I'm watching this stupid movie for fun and I enjoy it. It's usually
You're talking about Christopher Nolan movies, and then you're like, I watched Sharknado.
Yeah. It's very hard for me to. Yeah, I'm very like serious minded. Like I love laughing, I love comedy. I got a dark sense of humor, but like comedies, things that are meant to be funny, I usually hate. Like Christmas Story, Spaceballs, hate them. Awful movies.
I'd like to see what Nolan would do with a concept like Sharknado.
Nolan would make a cool Ghostbusters, I think, honestly. Like the premise.
Ghostbusters?
Yeah, I would love to see a Nolan Ghostbusters movie. I would watch that Ghostbusters.
He made the best.
Couldn't be any worse than that.
Yeah, but
I didn't see the newest one. I saw the girl one.
Oh, yeah.
Oh wow. I was in the theater for. I haven't seen any Ghostbusters this time, but I was in the theater for Jurassic World 1, and I heard the nah, but it was like, all churched up in like modern take on the song, and I instantly knew the song. I'm like,
yeah,
Ghostbusters, and it's like, oh, 4 unfunny women.
Yeah.
Oh God,
Ad lib.
hell no.
Yeah.
And it's sad because I love that director on The Office. He's done some great stuff on The Office, but man, yeah, it was crazy. Is like Anchorman is like 12 years older than that film. It's like the template of like, let's just let funny guys ad lib within this plot we've made. You see such great execution in that, and then you see like, wow, you ran amok with this.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, you're dealing with better personalities, funnier people.
Kirsten Wiig's been funny on SNL, so it's like her is probably the biggest shock of that film. But yeah. Sorry if we attracted too much in film talk. I'm a film guy, and that's how I'm coming into Meth Gators. I think about plot holes in film and reviewing. So that's how I'm writing. I'm not really writing like, oh, this comic trope, let's do that. Like I try to avoid that, like.
So you didn't want to see like Sharknado 2, 3, or 4 because of
no.
On the strength of Sharknado 1?
I feel the first one's probably the best, and I can't do anymore. Unless I'm making money, which I'm demonetized.
I think they've got at least 3 of them. I think there's probably 4.
7.
Oh, at least, yeah.
Oh wow!
Oh my God!
7.
There's 7 Sharknados.
No.
Oh, but in the realm of like dumb movies, me and Rookie, because he's gonna start doing content on Scream because the new one coming out. We watched Scream 1. I've seen it as a kid, but not as an adult and cognizant. And wow, that was pretty good actually. I really liked Scream.
Yeah, Scream's not a bad movie. Yeah.
I don't know why, because it's like we were just laughing the whole time about, oh, they could make this a joke, or like Henry Winkler, like, you know, he's freaking out trying to find out who's knocking, and then he like opens the closet, no one's there, and he sees himself, he's like, and I was like, a Jew. Oh wait, it's me. Like we have fun with that. We got so many memes between each other watching movies that, like, yeah, if you're watching a movie with us, you're probably, God, these guys don't shut the fuck up. But it's like somehow we can take in everything and all these memes with each other. Yeah, it's a good synergy we got. But yeah, he's starting to read comics too. Nice. So he's got an idea that's pretty funny of a fat Flash idea, essentially. Like he wants to lose weight, but he can't because he needs all this intake for his increased metabolism. So he's got
wait. Is his name Flabish?
So it's funny because Rookie's totally not a comics guy. It's like getting him, like Game of Thrones. He didn't, for years, all of us were like, dude, Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad. And he just drags his fucking feet. And then season 8 happens. And then he's like, oh, I'll start watching it. And he thought, he was like, I'm bored halfway through the show. And then we watch House of Dragon. And once we got to the, like, she screws the Kingsguard, that's when, like, it clicked and he woke up and he starts appreciating it. And it wasn't just because of sex, but it was like the depth of the characters and all that. And he got hooked. And now we're watching Game of Thrones slowly. And he's just taking in all the detail of like Tywin, Cersei, etc. It's really fun watching stuff with Rookie with like his rookie take on things. Because everything's kind of new for him. Even though we've watched a lot, it's still all new for him. We just watched American Psycho, so look forward to that review from him.
That's good stuff.
So yeah, so that's where, and I throw a lot of soundboard ideas off of him of like, yeah, my book, like, what do you think of this idea? And I'll bring in some comparison, or I'll explain, like, trying to study Mystique. That's the character I want to like make my own style of. So I'm doing the research, reading Captain Marvel or Miss Marvel, like 78, when Mystique first pops in. And like the plot, of course.
Is your Mystique character in Meth Gator?
Possibly in the future. Not in the first issue. She's going to have her own organic startup, and it would, if I could do her, it'll meet up with Meth Gator, but she's her own thing initially. But anyway, it's funny going back in history with comics, having really only started with film for the last decade, and seeing the stories like Miss Marvel 78. It's like issue 18 is when it starts, and of course she's got this baggage of other interconnected stories, X-Men and whatnot. And Namora gets captured by some tiger shark guy, and so then she goes like, oh well, let me go to the X-Men facility to make a water pill so I can swim underwater.
A water pill.
And breathe water. Like, it's a catch-all. And it's funny because today it's like we be doing all this like science and whatnot, and all the abilities that you're like trying to put into the pill, but it's like, I need a water pill. And then they've been attacked in X-Men storyline, so they're like freak out and they fight for a minute, and it's like, well guys, I just need to make a water pill. I'm like, okay, yeah, go downstairs to the lab, makes her pill, and then she just goes underwater, but it's like arbitrary, like I only got like 5 hours to swim underwater and find this layer, and then it's like, oh, my pill's expiring, I'm going to not be able to breathe water in a minute. And it's just it's so stupid.
Batman's utility belt,
Yeah, no, it's like the convenient, like, oh, Robin, my webs are out. How am I going to fight the bad guy?
To be fair, they built the logic and they followed their rules.
Right, and I talked with Rookie about it, with it already being new to me, and I'm explaining this. He's like, "Wait, but what about this?" And I'm like, "Shut up! She made a water pill. It's all explained. Like, that's it.
The water pill.
Water pill. The pressure of the water doesn't matter. The depth, like none of that matters. She's got a water pill, idiot. Like,
reminds me of that Simpsons where they're like, okay, anytime you see anything like that, a wizard did it.
That's right.
Yeah, there's a art meme that you might appreciate. I'll have to find it, but it's like sci-fi in like the 50s, and the aircraft, the spacecraft they'd make, it looks so retro and cool and sleek, and it's like, well, how does that fly? Where's the power source? All these things, and you see like the depth of like Blade Runner style, like intricate.
How does your jet work in a vacuum?
He's
Yeah.
like, I don't
That's
know,
right.
magic. And that's kind of it's fun, these time capsules of the suspension
Mentioning water
disbelief that would
capsules.
be allowed in comics versus now. And I think film influences that to a bit. I think
Mhm.
you know, as much as I like detail oriented stuff and it to like make sense even in a fake universe, I do think with the progression of stories and the intelligent intricacy, we also lose the imaginativity of like, well, like who cares about that? We want to see him get a laser ring or whatever. So I get a value of that. What are some of the comics that were like you were focused on as a kid that made you want to start comic art and whatnot?
Me. What
Yeah.
what got me into comics was I was in 7th grade, and the Marvel Series 2 cards came out.
Oh yeah.
If anybody remembers the Marvel Series 2
Yep.
cards,
Mhm. Yep.
and they like had like full body poses of the superheroes, so they were it made them like easier to draw, or like
Mhm.
or like you could copy like the the full body poses to learn anatomy.
Yep.
So like like we used to skateboard to school and draw at the Carl's Jr. and we do our little like little taggers and stuff too. A little bit here and there. So like with just like graffiti and the art and like the Series 2 cards, like I just like started really really enjoying drawing superheroes, and that eventually led me to the comic book shop. But like I mean, before that, like this was still like when I could just skate to 7-Eleven, buy a Slurpee, play Ninja Gaiden, and pick up a copy of The Punisher too.
Mhm.
Like that's what that's my best childhood memories. Like I still remember picking up my first Web of Spider-Man and still have it to this day off the newsstand.
Yeah.
Like the the cards were what made me realize how much fun it was to draw the superheroes, and then my love for drawing and the superheroes genre is like what led me to like seek out the issues on the spinner racks. And then it wasn't until really until like like the start of like X-Men #1, Spider-Man #1, X-Force #1, like those books like were that vibe was really palpable. Like it was really easy to be drawn to it. And that was when like so like McFarlane was doing Spider-Man #1, Jim Lee was doing X-Men #1, Rob Liefeld was doing X-Force #1. It was like the best looking comic books ever, to me anyway. And then like when they split off to do Image, like then and they started like going into like computer coloring, like they were just mind blowing. Like you'd pick up one of those books off the shelf and just could not believe how good looking that comic book was. And just that just it just cemented it into me, like my love for it. I from Southern California, so like I would go to their signings at the Golden Apple, with the lines around the corner and the helicopters above, and went to like San Diego Comic Cons, and like got to meet like all the like got to meet everybody, but like all the like underlings, like all the people that they brought up. I got to like hang out with them, and I still like all the sketches from them, and just was a very enjoyable part of my childhood. Like the everything about it. And I was I'm really thankful in a way for the lockdown, in the sense that like it pulled me like out of the grind, out of that like just making money and providing and that daily grind, and made me like step back and like realize like what was important to me, and like what I wanted to do, and like things that like I wanted, things like ways that like I imagined my life going, like as a kid, so like this is just me like taking charge of my life, like what I uh my what ambitions I have.
Oh, it makes a lot of sense. Chris, you've been pretty quiet. Besides laughing here and there, you can interject. You can feel fine to interject.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to like because I have a slight delay in my Bluetooth headset. I didn't want to like somebody's giving a pitch about their cool book, and I'm like, hey, guess what? It's like,
No, you sound fine on my end, so yeah.
oh, sweet.
How do I sound? Do I sound okay?
Yeah, everybody sounds good. Everyone's going good on my side streaming.
I went through like my junk drawer, I found this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa, that's old school, man.
Wow.
Is that an HP
Yeah.
or a Dell?
I don't even know.
Sounds good.
But
You're wearing an Oakley hat. Have you ever done like military?
No.
Are you associated with military at
I
all?
get that question a lot, but no, never. I never had the privilege of serving in the military. I went to school, and then I got out, and like right when I got out, like I was working at a sign shop, and like as their graphics guy, and I was actually like I did a few interviews. Like my whole family pretty much like works in the film business, so I did an interview on the Ang Lee Hulk, like in their art department.
Dude, I love that movie.
But it would have been, it would have been an apprenticeship, free. Yeah, working for free. But I was like, still like, okay, maybe, you know what I mean? And
Exposure.
and then I got another interview with the asset manager for Universal Studios. So all tangible assets, like their dinosaurs, their their production phones, their fax machines, like everything up and down, so like the asset manager, like on a film. And then my dad called me up, and he was running the backlot at Universal at the time, and he said, "You want to do lighting?" And I'm like, I don't know, what's lighting? What do you mean? You know what I mean? It's like, be here tomorrow at 6 a.m. And so I did, and so as a manager of the backlot, like he does all like the technical departments, like lighting and grip and construction and things like that. As well as like renting out the stages. So I get there, and my first day on the job, like you're allowed to work if you're not in the union, you can work as a permit, and if you get 30 days as a permit, you can join the union. And it was on Jurassic Park 3. So I got all of my days like, as a permit, like just learning how to light on Jurassic Park 3.
Oh, cool.
And it was so interesting and like so much fun that like I fell into it, and then Bob's your uncle. Like I always thought like I would just get my union card and fall back onto my art career. It was like at that time like I was doing like video game work. Like I've even done some like Game Boy work. Like that's how old I am. I was still doing that a little bit, like as things took off, but like from Jurassic Park 3, like I kept doing features. Like, so I did features like for the first few years, and then I got into TV, and eventually like I became a what's called a lighting console programmer. Like, so I would do all of the lights from a console and like control the stage and I would do some like live sitcom and like things like that, but that's where I and sitting behind the board is when I did like all of like my novel writing, and um, and in 2017 what was I working on? It was probably on Pretty Little Liars at the time. I don't know if you heard of that show.
Heard it, never watched it. I've seen Big Little Lies.
And was probably working on that, and doing their scenes like on the board, like so like when like somebody like walks into a room and like flips a switch, like you see like one light go off like in the background, like usually it's like 5 lights or more like turning off, and 5 more lights or more like turning on, so you've got your like night look and yeah, you've got your orange lights and your blue lights, you know what I mean? So I'd be like sitting there like writing out, fleshing out like my story for Octogone, and they'd be like, okay, and cue, and I reach over and I'd hit a button and the lights would change and I'd keep on writing. So that's how I got a lot done.
Yeah, it's cool you talk about Jurassic Park 3 because that's one we recently watched, and it's like we know this one gets a lot of hate, and I watched it. I'm like, besides like some stupid things like the Velociraptor like just posing behind the glass, and it's like, it's live for like they made something stupid to do a jump scare when you could have got a jump scare organically, or like somehow the Spinosaurus snuck up on them. Besides those little things, I thought it was a pretty solid movie, actually. I don't think it deserves the hate. And
yeah,
it's cool to see that you've been involved around that
stuff. All right,
like,
like the pterodactyl scene like in that movie?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, in the water?
All right. So, like, the water was at Falls Lake. So, like, my first job that day, like, my first day, like, was to put on waders and wade out into Falls Lake and then, like, tie, like, these high-voltage cables onto inner tubes that were, like, went out into the water.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
And, well, they're not plugged in and they're not on, you know what I mean?
Oh, okay. That
Yeah.
But,
so, like, dangerous.
They use these old school lights on that shoot called an arc, and an arc light is like where they like these 2 carbon rods touch and then they pull apart, and then like it creates this like lightning bolt that like goes across, and it's like as bright as day, and they like have a smokestack in the back. There's these humongous lights that like each person has like one guy like has to man it. Like trim the arc and make sure it's not flickering and things like that, right? So like there, like not a lot of people like know how to operate them, and like nowadays, like nobody knows how to operate them. But back then, like even then, nobody really knew how to operate it anymore.
I mean, 2 carbon rods. Am I right?
So this guy who was also a grip, like so he was holding 2 cars. He was a grip and an electric, and Best Boy Electric, like he says, all right, who knows how to run the arc? And this guy goes, I do, and so it goes, so like when you plug in an arc, like it goes through a rectifier, so which is like it's like a step down transformer that like it changes the current,
cleans it.
And it like drops down the voltage. Right, like so, he bypasses the rectifier, like so, like in the winter, like if you could like stand next to a rectifier and warm up, like because it's like taking all that electricity, like and changing the sine wave and then sticking it through, you know what I mean? And so he doesn't plug it into the rectifier. He plugs the high voltage cables like straight into the arc, and then. Like when he hits the lever, so it's this big lever, and he hits it down, and it's when it electrifies it at 480 volts.
Wow!
And the Fresnel, which is like the lens on the front, which looks like a lighthouse, like the front of a lighthouse.
Yeah.
So it obliterates, like so it explodes, and like the entire like glass Fresnel like shoots out like all the way across the lake.
Oh shit!
Like, and So that was like my very first day, like on the set.
This is how not to do it.
Yeah, like, I'm like looking around, like, was that
Well,
supposed to happen?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Wait a second. Were any of the animals hurt?
If you were if anybody was standing like even 200 feet in front of that thing, it would have been ripped to shreds.
Oh.
Yeah, it was really bad. Like, he was immediately fired. Like, the guy was so pissed.
Yeah, that was an expensive thing too, by the way.
And like the last thing I'll say about it was like the most interesting thing about working on that movie was then if you like watch them. So like when I'm watching the movie, like so they fall into the water and then they jump onto a bridge and they get chased by the pterodactyls and the pterodactyls are hitting them at beaking at them as they're like running across this like rock face, you know what I mean? And all of those things are different days. They're all different days, and they're all on different sets, and they're all around the lot, and you know what I mean? Like it was so cool to see it like all stitched together, because like months and months of work, you know what I mean? And like you're all over the lot, and in Hawaii, and like all over the place, and it was like. And you'd like watch it, it'd be like boom, 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 like cut, and it was like different day.
So you're watching when you watch movies, you have like this perspective. You're like catching that.
Yeah,
I assume.
Like I was like sitting, like I was sitting with my wife last night. We were eating dinner and we were watching Uncle Buck. Have you ever seen Uncle Buck?
Oh yeah,
John
Uncle
Candy?
Buck's great. Yeah.
And like the biggest like enjoyment I get out of it is like seeing the trees backlit. Like man, look at those trees. Like you can tell like there's a light and a condor that's probably like 90 feet in the air and it's way back there, and it's got this nice all the trees like have this nice blue glow, sort of X-Files looking. And I was like, yeah, just look at that light. Isn't that great? You know what I mean? Like that's pretty much like how I enjoy a movie.
That's funny because a lot of times I notice sound in movies sometimes. If it like sticks out, like, whoa, that was like such a cool sound, or what the hell? Or, if they like catch the sound from the actors in a weird way, or sometimes it's obvious like re-recording.
Yeah. ADR.
Yeah. It's like, if they're that far back, it shouldn't sound that crisp, and I've picked up on that and learned a little bit about the ADR stuff. But I think about that, like the guy who did all the Star Wars original trilogy sound effects, where it's like, how does that guy go about life every day? Where it's like on a honeymoon with his wife and he hears something. He's like, I got to get my recording.
I got to get my equipment.
Yeah, I hit a high tension wire. That's a blaster.
That's right. I got to get my toaster oven microphone thing.
Yeah, I think about that a lot. Like it's the different cogs of creating a film, where it's like, what's the life of some of those guys outside of the film when they're not like applying it? How annoying they must be, or just fucking weird.
Wait, what was that guy's name? Brett Barr or something? What was his name? That did the sound? Yeah. It's Brett something.
I don't know. I've seen like the documentary on it where he's like hitting the wrench he's hitting the high tension cable with the wrench, the blaster and stuff.
Yeah, all that stuff's cool. Before I forget, we need to show your trailer.
Please.
Hell yeah.
The music was done by my friend Sky. He was a really cool musician. He was a Prince's DJ for like 10 years.
Oh, damn.
Whoa.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Oh yeah.
That was good.
Thanks.
Your logo, your Octagon logo. Is that based on Hydra?
A little bit. It is it's supposed to be an octagon, and it's supposed to be like a little bit symbolic, but more just like highly stylized. Um, it's it has to do like with magnetism and energy. Like like if you ever look at like Tesla's uh, discoveries, or like you look at like ancient architecture and things like that, like repositories, or like where energy is held is like within an octagon. Like so it's like a spire, and then below the dome an octagon, like so it's like a kind of like a battery of sorts, and like there's like symbology that like goes along with it too, like it's also like the shape of God.
The Metatron.
Yeah, it like the like even like the sound like awe, is like part of like deep like meditation, like everything's like like Yahweh or God or like Aum, or you know what I mean, like it just like has to do with like the connection to the spiritual, and like the energy of life, like what
Okay.
we're all energy, like we're all electromagnetic, and we're like that's how we're all connected, and it's like a
Your orb that Octagon's holding. Can you explain that at all?
Sure. Like I don't mind like giving up details, so spoiler alert, if like you've already backed it or something like that, but like so that fish is from our realm, and it has already gone through a portal to Octagon's realm, and because of that, like it has an electromagnetic signature that he's figured out like how to open up these portals is you are able to open it like with the same like energy signature, like so that fish like has the same energy signature as the portal does, like so can become in sync, like so it can open, like so like basically like that fish that in that bubble is like basically like a key to another dimension. So but like a big spoiler alert is like like a human, like once they travel through the portal, they now have that electromagnetic signature, like just like that fish does. So like Ruby, like once she goes through the portal, like if she's in the right time and space, then she will be able to open up a portal back to her realm.
Huh. This makes me wonder about like seizures, epilepsy. Like is it, would that be something that like could that be a cure, or is that something you maybe never thought of, or
something I never thought of.
Okay. Maybe I gave you a little thing to woo.
About seizures that much.
I just saw a video. There was a woman. She's like laying down. She's having a seizure, and like her head's bobbing on the floor, and her dog's trained to like lay under her head to protect her. And it's like, aw, cute dog. But then it's like, I don't know. Just epilepsy is such a weird, interesting thing.
Neurochemistry is a scary thing.
Wait, where'd you come up with seizures?
Isn't seizures like something wrong with like your electric pulsing in your body?
Oh,
yeah, your
maybe,
synapses are misfiring. Yeah.
Got it.
You could make like a cure element that humans would be coveting. This technology, or this
portal technology for your epilepsy.
It's because there's no rectifier involved.
Right. You have bypassed the rectifier, sir.
Yeah.
Does the person explode?
Just
They just like
volted your light by 240 volts.
I want to cure my epilepsy. Well, you cured it.
Now you're paralyzed. So.
Now, simmer down now.
Now I think that Team Pizza's like
Yeah.
us Paris.
No, I'm glad I backed both of y'all.
Oh, yeah.
Can't wait.
I'm
to
glad
get
you
these.
did too.
Oh yeah, of course you are.
Yeah.
No, I legitimately, I really like the sales of both of these comics. Any last words? We're not closing out, but I want to shift to Chris Fisk and his upcoming sequel. I know I've seen Sim tweet something about this, so
All right, let's check out Chris.
okay.
I was just going to say thanks for having me on. I'm staying. I just wanted to say that I don't know much about the creation of movies. I've been listening to you guys. Know nothing about lighting. I thought the Jurassic Park 3 was a fun movie. When it came out, Jurassic Park was cutting edge and mind blowing. I remember watching that. So you probably felt differently, but for a regular movie guy, it was pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I read the book. So like when I read, like I was in high school, I think, and I read the book, and I went to see the premiere of or not premiere, but like I went to go see Jurassic Park with my class. Like my science, my biology teacher and my class like went to go see it. And I remember like as soon as like the credits started to roll, I couldn't believe it. Like I was like, what about everything that happened in the
Yeah, right. All that stuff that happened.
It's almost impossible. To
it was unbelievably beautiful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I mean, the paleontology is all over the place, but I really love that movie.
yeah. And, you know, I hear from a lot of younger guys like Gen Z, I guess Gen Z or like whatever you call it, millennials, especially I guess like millennials, like it's their favorite movie.
Millennials. Yeah.
Millennials, it's either Jurassic Park or Jaws.
Yeah.
I can't get behind Jaws. I
What?
think it's mediocre.
Wait a second. Jaws is a great movie. I will fight you with
Spielberg movie.
No, so it's
magnetic
a movie that
figures.
I'm not. It's a movie unlike
Steven
Ghostbusters
Spielberg.
or something where I'm just like, this sucks. I don't get what you're sniffing when you watch this. Like, so movies like that, comedies, I feel like have a lot of times it's like, well, I grew up with it and I love it and it's amazing. And you keep rewatching it and there's a nostalgia reinforcement to those movies that if you're like me and I didn't see it till I'm like 27 and I'm coming into it knowing the hype and I'm excited about the hype. And then I watch it, I'm like totally let down, not funny at all. That's not how I watch Jaws. I just like, I guess it's the best shark movie, but
It's a good shark movie.
I don't have. If I was back then I would probably be like, oh my god, how they do this? This is so scary or whatever. But you know, I already seen Deep Blue Sea before I saw Jaws, and that executes the fear element better. Even with like the extreme, I just rewatched it and I think it's actually pretty solid still for a dumb 90s film. Yeah, like it's like you see The Departed and then you go back and watch Godfather and you're like, wow, okay, I get like it's well crafted, but it's underwhelming after you've seen things that are built off of what that film started. You know what I mean? So it's like I can't go back and appreciate it. I'm definitely not arguing its merit and what it inspired in all these creatives afterward and like the technical hurdles that they filmed around. And that's probably why it is as good as it is for y'all fans, but I don't get it. Jurassic Park, on the other hand, I have the nostalgia of just loving dinosaur shit as a kid, but also I see it today and I'm like, no, it holds up. It is good. Aside from nostalgia, it's a fairly good. It mixes the child wonder of what if dinosaurs could be real today with enough scientific merit of like exaggerating real avenues of science. So like it's a good synergy of imagination and science.
And
Or
Jeff Goldblum.
is it nostalgia reliant? And yeah, the acting bits and the progression. But movies like that piss me off in the sense of like they won't kill kids. Like holding back undercuts the horror element. Like The Witch or A Quiet Place, they start out and they kill kids, and it's like, okay, all bets are off now. So now I'm scared for my actors. And like that, you know, it's like when you say like I want movies to kill kids, that sounds so deranged. But it's like no, I want it because it makes me invested more in the
what
fear.
I'm getting from this conversation is you want to see kids die.
Damn.
And as I look back on like my whole like Stephen King reading all his books, you know what I mean? Like he was really about that too.
That's true. Yeah.
You know, it's
I
funny.
mean, like, as I really like, you know, think about it, like looking back, you know what I mean? Like so much of it was about kid
I fucking hated kids. Yeah.
Yeah, they killed Georgie, so then all your characters are kids. So you're like, who's gonna go next?
Yeah, It is a perfect example.
Well, I know when I think of movie, one of my favorite movies, and I've seen it probably 40 times, is Die Hard. Because when I was in high school, that movie came out in the 80s. I know I'm dating myself. And I liked the story. I liked everything about it. And you could believe that is how things would go, you know. And I look at movies today, and John Wick is fun, good popcorn movie. But I'll tell you this, I would take Die Hard any day of the week over watching a popcorn movie.
That's true. Die Hard is solid.
Yeah.
Good holiday movie.
The one
it's definitely
thing I
Christmas.
don't understand, just that nags at me, not knowing like laws or anything, is what is the law of a New York cop flying with a gun to California, and like what kind of laws would he be? Even though he's a hero, it's like, well, we still got to prosecute you. Like, is that a you know what I mean? Like, I think of that.
Dude, it's the 80s. It's fine.
I have family that are
Wizard did it.
Yeah.
Anytime you see anything like that,
The
a
Wizard.
wizard did it.
No, yeah, I'm totally fine. Just like shut your brain up. Don't like it's so good. Just ignore that, and it has so much merit to ignore it. But like that sticks out where I'm like, oh man, I would definitely, if I was writing this, I would make that just that would things like that stick out to me. Where I'm like, I gotta make that.
Wait, if he was filing some like if he was just writing out some paperwork, filling out like paperwork for his gun, like a little scene with that,
something
done
like
it?
that. Just quick, where it's like, all right, Mr. McLean.
McLean, do you have your gun on the plane for him?
Yeah, like, all right, they stored your gun or something. Or here's your allowance because you are a law enforcement agent. You can carry.
Don't forget.
There was something like that. That would just that one thread that nags me of that movie would totally go away. Everything else
to make this with your toes on the carpet.
Having family that have been cops for decades, and I know that there is a law that if you fill out the paperwork, a cop can carry his gun.
There you go. This paperwork scene.
Police powers, but because he's a cop, he can do it. But you can also get in trouble because your badge has no authority, and it also has to deal with the laws of the state. In the 80s, California was not a complete anti-gun.
Yeah.
And so
Also,
it's a lot different then.
Well, also you could get trapped in a building with terrorists.
True. Another great movie is I Love Lethal Weapon. That is one of the great movies. I laugh every time. And I'll tell you, all four of them, they're like golden to me.
They're good movies, yeah.
I just watched the first one, The Rookie. He already had seen them. Not a fan, but there's one scene, partially because of Mel Gibson specifically and his repeated homophobia in interviews.
Bro's got charisma.
Like one in, I think, Spain, they asked him something about gays, and he like pointed to his ass and said, "This is for shitting." And like, that's the end of the interview.
That's that pre-Vatican II coming out.
And it's funny because like I'm ex-Catholic, and I find the humor in that is so hilarious. Maybe just because we're so sanitized that it's like so refreshing that like this guy does not give a shit. He's already had his career. It doesn't matter if they totally write him out of Hollywood. He's set for life. He's done Passion of the Christ. Like he's got a clean bill outside of.
He's directed Jesus.
Yeah.
Where do you go from there?
But with that, so like with that awareness of like all this, watching Lethal Weapon, understanding the context of like, I always mix up the names. What's the two names of the cops?
Murtaugh,
yeah.
And the black
Riggs,
guy,
right?
Riggs.
Okay, so yeah, Murtaugh has been in Vietnam. The banker saved him. All right, so you're aware of that, and then you think of the baggage of Vietnam and what he may have survived on top of like the friend taking the bayonet and whatnot. They go to that building and then it blows up. All right, and so Murtaugh instantly starts to like try to pat out any fire on Riggs, and Riggs, Mel Gibson goes, "What are you, a fag?" Like that's his first thing he puts out is that. And it's just that I die. We had to pause the movie because it was so funny to me. Because it's like this guy with all of his baggage and trauma from Vietnam thinks to like instantly pat any fires out, save this guy, minimize any burns, and he thinks that with that that makes it hilarious. Like he's so homophobic in the moment. Oh, whoa, what are you touching me, dude? Like
Get your hands on.
It is Mel Gibson. That it's just over the top. It has that kind of humor for me. That's my vein. So like that was just hilarious. But the movie, like, you know, having seen like End of Watch, like some Dirty Harry, like I appreciate that film for y'all and growing up with it and coming out at that time. It's probably new, but for me, I'm like, whatever. Like, you know, a gray cop that's like, you know, crossing the line here and there. It's like, okay. You know, again, comedy does not age well, especially for me. So you'll never really see comedy reviews from me because it's like that's not my thing. Sci-fi drama, that's me.
Probably not a fan of Conan either. The original.
No, Conan's cool. Yeah, Conan is because of the setting, the what they're selling. Yeah, it is an ageless film, despite the limitations in maybe acting and or the effects. It's like, I can totally like cheat. I can totally like cheat that out of my like criticism. It's like, well, they're limited, whatever the budget is. Schwarzenegger's like a young actor. He's meant to just be like the muscle guy that, you know, kills things. So like it's totally fine.
But yeah, Barbarian, not so much Destroyer.
Yeah, Destroyer was kind of a step back.
I only liked the first one. I thought Destroyer, I fell asleep.
Yeah, it went to PG.
Yeah, exactly. It was, they basically castrated Conan the Barbarian.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. So yeah, speaking about Infinitales.
Oh yeah,
I'm currently reading it. I'm a little behind, and unfortunately, I'm a slow reader too, so that sucks. But dude, what I've read so far, about 2/3 through, it's flowing so well. Like I, not like a D&D. I've never played D&D. I've played Magic, like we've talked about, but not deep into like the fantasy genre at all. You know, Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones. That's about as deep as I go, and this is really cool. Like the art is not like normally what I'm going for as far as like the hard like DC or whatever kind of realism of drawing style, but like this has a good character to it. And there's certain things like with you got like these elf people, how you say it? Elvar?
Yeah, the Elva. The
Elvar. They are these like elf people, and they got like these gods that are over them, and they don't give a fuck about them. And I don't know, man. I just really liking it. It's flowing so well. The one thing, me not being like an art critic necessarily, like there's art that I'm like, I like this art, I hate that art, whatever. This is somewhere in the middle for me. But I think it's got good consistency. There's nothing where I'm like, wow, they just are all over the place. It's very consistent and concise. I'm immersing myself artistically with this. The
Nice.
colors are great. The flow is good. One thing, and the reason I mentioned not being an art critic, is that this stuck out so bad. It is not even like like, wow, this is horrible. How could you? But it's just like there's this conversation with the husband, with the baby, and given like the flow, and I'll have to find it specifically. I probably won't right now because I'm not able to focus, but there's like a conversation and the face is just like still from the guy. And it's like, why isn't there like some emotion of like disdain, like anger, or like shock, or like, how could you? Or that's the one thing that I've read so far. I'm like, oh, that just stuck out to me. And that maybe that's just like personal grab. And I'll pinpoint it and show you just so it'd be like a little thing where like when you're reading as like, you know, the writer, when you're telling your artist like, oh, like make sure there's like an emotion on the face. That's the one thing I've read so far. I'm like, huh. But no, this is great. You should be getting way more money for your campaigns because this is good stuff. Me, not a fan of like this genre in general. I'm like totally buying it. I'm totally immersed and I want more. So
sweet, man. Thanks. Yeah,
follow up that.
Yeah, if you head on over to InfinitaleChronicles.com, it's got the previews for the first and second book. So it shows all the cool
pull
art.
That up. Infinitales.com?
InfinitaleChronicles.com, yes.
Yeah, so I for the people here in the panel, I did not back this on the Indiegogo, but talking to Chris, he told me about his Amazon, and so you can get this for $8.
Yep.
Nice.
Prime. So I'll share that link shortly.
Sweet. Yeah. The first book was successfully crowdfunded at the end of last year, or hell, the end of 2021. And we've been working on book 2 now, going on almost 2 years now. Basically, book 1 was to just gauge interest, whether or not there was any, viability there. Would people actually back this? And we successfully backed it, and it was like, okay, let's do the green light, let's open her up. And we're still working on book 2, so we don't have the Indiegogo campaign or anything set up yet. But over on the website, we've got some nice previews of the second book, complete with. So we're doing something a little different here. Book 2 is basically twice everything. Where it's twice the page count. The first book was 54 pages. The second book is over 100 pages. And instead of just a variant cover, we're also doing variant books. You were mentioning the art style. We actually have 2 distinct art teams hitting this book. So you have the original art team here in the first one. You can just drag the cover with your mouse to flip through the pages.
Wow.
That's neat.
Yeah, look at that.
What the hell is that?
Pretty
Okay, there we go.
fancy.
Yeah. So this is the first 15 pages or basically chapter 1 of the second book, and it's immediately takes place or picks off right after the end of the first book. It doesn't give away too much of what goes on in the first book, but we have 2 parallel stories. They're running side by side, and you basically have. I guess the general synopsis is the Infinitale Chronicles is about this thing called the War of the Trees, which is heavily inspired by Welsh and Irish and ancient Anglo-Saxon mythology. So it does have that fantasy D&D stuff, but it's more of a wrapper. In terms of the story itself, if anybody's ever seen films like Logan's Run, there's a lot of that Plato's allegory of the cave in this story, where we basically have this. What's up?
Oh, sorry. Cad Gado? Is that how you say it?
Cad Gatho. Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard of this. I think this is what Duel of the Fates, John Williams from Star Wars is based on.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm like, what? Battle of the Trees. And I had to confirm it, and I'm like, wow. Okay, continue. Sorry.
Yeah. So the world basically asks these questions like, what if you lived in a society where, nobody was ugly and you lived forever? You never got sick. You never felt the betrayals of age, and everybody was pretty, and life was perfect. All you had to do was just conform to the system, and then one day that system came for your newborn child. and the penalties of defying that system was pretty brutal. And the question becomes: would you just go along with it, or would you break free? And what would you sacrifice for freedom? Would you take a dangerous liberty over a comfort oppression? And thanks. Yeah, this is one of our main characters here, Queen Ashlyn. She's the basically this queen of one of these. There's these 7 sovereignties, or these like little compartmentalized, almost like the domed cities again, going back to Logan's Run. These little compartmentalized city states, essentially, and the Elvar, the race of beings here that are fully dependent upon these gigantic gods that they serve, this heavy dogma that they don't ever question, but everything's given to them, so they don't really need to. The race never really gets pregnant, so they've always had this consequence-free lifestyle. And then one day she gets knocked up, and she's like, "What the hell's going on? What's going on with me? I don't know." So they end up researching and finds out she's pregnant, and she gives birth. And there's this thing called the lottery, which is, because these people live forever, their one kind of I guess drawback is they have to pay this tithe to the gods in the form of the harvest. And every X amount of period, like they call it every moon or every full cycle of the moon. But what's this measurement of time when you live forever? Is it like our world? Is it like a few months? Is it a few years? It's time becomes irrelevant. But basically, her firstborn kid gets drawn for the lottery, and she's like, "Oh hell no! Like this kid hasn't even had a chance to live. I'm not going to do this." And after she gives birth, she experiences these delusions, this like fever dream. And again, these people have never experienced illness or pain or anything to that matter. So she thought, she didn't know what the hell she thought she was losing her mind. What's going on? And there's this little blue wisp that tells her that everything that she's ever been told is a lie. And she basically has to, in her sickened, weakened state, has to go and follow the instructions of this blue wisp that's telling her to go to these ruins of this city, and this ancient city that's forbidden. You're not supposed to go there because the gods system tells her, stay in your lane. Never breach beyond these borders. And so she says, I gotta go. I gotta do this because if I keep screwing up like this, they're gonna kill me too. And her husband's like, nope, I'll take the reins. And he goes, because he's like, I don't know, is this bitch crazy? Is it, whatever it is, I got to do this for her. She's my wife. And he ends up going out to this area, and all hell breaks loose. And that kind of initiates the War of the Trees. And a lot of weird shit happens. And you basically see what happens when people who've lived, who've sacrificed their freedom for comfort, end up losing both. And we one of the taglines was, if you like elves, you'll like this book, but if you hate elves, you'll really love this book because they give a fuck.
I do really hate Legolas after Fellowship of the Ring. It just gets worse and worse when people were deflecting with that stupid opening scene with Galadriel in Rings of Power, and her like catapulting off a sword. And like, oh, this is cringe as shit. And stupid like blood splash, like no look kill, girl boss, girls get it done. That crap. It just, and people were like, oh, you need to turn off motion smearing on. I'm like, what the hell does that have to do with the context of this scene? It's not. However, this guy captured his TV. Sure, he might have that effect that ruins the picture, but it does not. It's like Game of Thrones. Like, do you just need to turn the brightness up or whatever? No. And that was one of the big tweets I had of like people loved it or hated it, and people like, oh, but Legolas, and it's like, I hate Legolas. What are you talking about? That's the worst shit. Fucking Flintstone off of a trunk. Oh, cringe.
Yeah. So we don't get that bad in these are graceful beings, but we don't get that lame. But there is a funny component about, we were talking about like the girl boss shit. So in this society, it is a matriarchal society, but there's a reason for that, because if you're going to control a institution, you're going to control a society. How would you do that? You would manipulate the women,
Ooh,
mothers
smart.
and boys. Yeah. I mean, look at what happened during the Troubles in Ireland when the Sinn Féin, the mothers of the Irish Republican Army are like, look, we're getting tired of burying our kids. We got to end this. And that war was ended by that. So
You can't spell manipulate without nip.
yeah.
Oh,
Los Nipples.
Well, just art style I was gonna say is really cool is the tone, not even reading the context, but just the tone. There's conflict, and then you switch, and now you have like this kind of heavenly, and you use the sides around the panel to accentuate that. I thought that's really cool.
Cool. Yeah.
Most people are going to go for either just straight, every page has some sort of like background like this on the edges, or all white around the edges. And I don't know if that's necessarily conscious. I assume it is, given the flow. But yeah, that's just like a detail I'm picking up on that. That's one thing I think maybe I noticed. Yeah, no, you definitely see it in this book too.
Yeah,
so
all the dream
consistency
sequences.
falling through with that element of the art is cool.
Sweet. Yeah, man. Like the so what we're seeing here is basically what I had mentioned earlier about the husband going off to investigate these bizarre visions that she's had. Oddly enough, the person who chose the name Ashlyn for her character, turns out Ashlyn actually means dream or vision, and that's totally by coincidence. But what she sees in her visions basically told her to go to this forbidden city that she wasn't supposed to go to, and all this stuff, and that's where she'll find the truth. And so she sends her husband out there, and what we're seeing in this scene is that her husband's been gone and he's not coming back. So she's now like, well, we were kind of hanging all of our hopes on saving our kid by having our husband come back with whatever this dream told her to do. That was going to be the panacea, the cure-all, and it turned out that something's not going to plan. He's dead. She sent her husband to his death, so she's now like, well, I got to get a plan B, and that's we got to do something else with this kid, because we're not gonna put this kid in the meat grinder. We're not gonna sacrifice him. So that's the decision she makes in this, and that's part of the seeds of defiance, because you can't let those take root because they become the weeds of rebellion. So yeah. And here's the same book done by a different art team now.
No.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
The same book.
Same book. It's yep. So
Wow.
What?
Yeah.
So why what was your reasoning in that? Like, why did you decide to do that?
So we sent out surveys after the campaign ended for our backers, and totally anonymous. Tear into it. What do you like? What do you not like? What are you looking for in the next book, and all that stuff. And we got some art criticism, things. They didn't like this style, or they liked this, or something to that effect. And I had spoken to actually Red Gaze, and he's like, "Hey, I know this art team that they helped us out when we were doing Sunsworn, and they're really good. You might want to talk to them." So I did, and the Studio Barbusco, the team that's doing the second variant, or this version B of this book, they jumped on board, man, and they're like, "Yeah, let's do this." So
Looks good, but I'm going to stay faithful to the original.
Stay faithful.
Fides Veritas. Yeah, it's I mean, it's basically a variant book, and we're hoping that the cool thing about it is because both teams are working independently, we're getting two windows into the same universe. We're getting two interpretations
That's cool.
of the same story.
Like two gospels.
Yeah. I mean, like I did the lettering for this one, so it's a little different. I mean, I gotta work on it a little more, but it's
crap, double crap.
Oh yeah, unacceptable.
Hey,
Something about
Jonah.
those letters, man.
No, this is good. I love it.
Sweet, thanks, man. Yeah. In addition to this, if you'd like to see some of the preview of the merchandise that we're expecting, you can scroll to the top and hit the merchandise section. And yeah, and so these are kind of some of the additional perks that we had in the first campaign and the second campaign, and we're we might be tossing them in as additional perks. Some of them have sold out completely and they won't be returned. Some of them we still have some left over from the first campaign, like this Ashlyn standee, little acrylic standee of Ashlyn from the first book. And
just a weird detail is you're saying Ashlyn, but there's no H. It just makes me think, because I've done a little bit of Duolingo of German and Romanian, and this is it seems like a common European thing with the S's and the adding the sh to it, which is just a nice little language thing where I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Well, in Turkish, you could just have a little squiggle under the S, and it would be the sh.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Well. So here we got the trading cards. We got the foil card from the. If you scroll down, it'll show what was in the original pack. So those were the trading cards from the first campaign. They're little character art with little bio or dossier on the back, and then the various covers. So those three bottom right images there are the one in the kind of the first from the left is your original cover, and then there was variant cover 1 and variant cover 2. And kind of the cool thing is there's a section in the book where this ancient language is revealed in sculptures and carvings, and in this book that these characters find. And you don't miss anything if you don't get that card set, but that card set actually has a cipher in it where you can actually translate what the book is saying. And here are the planned cards for the second campaign.
Like is it Nessa?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's additional art. Nessa's a hottie. In addition to that, we also what is it? We got the cards. Oh yeah, we did the 3D printed figures, the little figurines that are game paintable ready. So yeah, you've got like the water leaper, which was encountered in the first book.
You just copied Avatar too.
The cool thing about these though is I worked in game development for about a decade, and I really love some of the toys to life trends. So each one of these little figurines also has a NFC chip in its base, and you can swipe it on the back of your phone and get like a little bio about the character.
Oh,
very nice.
Sweet. Yeah, and it's got comes a little character card, and yeah, that's one of our soldiers, one of the Elvar soldiers, their armor and their weapon, the Klethith.
We did the Hydra. Nice.
Oh yes, we got the Royal Hydra there. He's a big boy.
That's what I was going to note. You got like these fawn people, and you got the Hydra, so you got it's a big catch-all of like mythological potential, not just typical fantasy. That was another element I was going to say. It was cool, just visually, of some of the creatures so far in the first one.
Yeah, so we definitely plumbed a lot of the Irish and Welsh and Anglo-Saxon mythology, and the Hydra was actually kind of multi-purpose because that's like a Greek myth. But what we did was we looked into, or at least when I was doing research, there's an Irish myth called the Baither, and the Baither is a giant serpent that's quick as lightning, and kind of the if you were to look at the animal through like some zoological thing, the Baither, as it gets older, it can start sprouting more heads, and eventually its entire morphology changes and it grows limbs. So it basically starts off as a really nasty venomous snake, and as it gets older, it gets bigger and bigger. So when you see something like a Royal Hydra, that sucker's old. So yeah,
it's a cool detail.
Yeah, it also has acidic breath and acidic saliva, and you get to see what that does to those asshole elves.
Yeah, that was one thing was when it happened, because these Avar are they're immortal, right?
Well, yeah, they don't die by age, but they can die.
Right. They can, they can be killed, but like otherwise they're just gonna live forever.
Yep.
So yeah, when I saw the scene of like the acid, I was wondering if there's going to be a healing factor, and then it's like, well, no, they're not. They're dead.
Yeah,
well, because
he's gonna make it.
Initially, it was confusing, and I'm like, wait a minute, and it's like, okay, no, that guy's dead too.
He's dead.
Yeah. A lot of them die. Like I said, man, if you hate elves, you'll love this book.
That's a great tagline.
That should be one of like when you're putting on Twitter. If you hate elves, you'll love this.
Yeah, pretty people with problems make them pay.
Have you ever watched Neon Demon?
Is that the one with Elle Fanning?
Yes.
I believe so. She was like a beautiful model that like basically became like a monster essentially.
I don't know if I would say she became a monster.
Yeah.
The world around her.
I would say, yeah, it's like her existence invites chaos from the plastics. And what's cool is that Nicholas Winding Refn, he's a guy who did Drive. That's probably his best known work. The idea of that film is like class warfare through beauty. And so like Elle is just, she's not like the hottest model in the film, but she's like pure. It's naturally born. It's not plastic surgery or anything or the makeup. She just naturally has it. And so it makes all the plastics
jealous.
Yeah, jealous and literally cannibalistic eventually.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was like a cool premise. And of course, it's like a very perturbed, shocking kind of film for most normal moviegoers. So, of course, it's not going to do wonders at the box office or anything. But I just thought it was very interesting, especially where we're at now, because this is before OnlyFans became a huge thing, before like the Instagram really took over to compete with Twitter and Facebook. And so it's kind of proven itself true in a metaphysical way. Yeah. And so I bet he's just having a kick with that.
well, yeah. The one of the other kind of tropes that we explore is the what happens to manners when necessities disappear. You've got these beautiful people who essentially have had everything handed to them. It's kind of like the end of innocence, like the loss of your childhood, where you're now kicked out into the adulthood, and you're like, shit, I got to fend for myself. Damn, where all those polite things about how you got to help others and all that stuff. Well, when you're starving, guess who becomes priority one? It's not helping others. So yeah, here's the first book. So just there's the gods and their heavy dogmatic kind of religious theocracy that rules over them.
When did you see Thor: Love and Thunder, Chris?
No.
Oh.
Sorry.
I mean, they really skirt over the Gore origin and his whole drive to be the God Butcher, and that like the God Butcher, like he could just have his own film or trilogy, and then tie Thor into it, and then do a Thor 4 or 5. So disappointing, but excuse me. There's with like the gods and the template of this world, and they're serving him, and their like dogmatic, unquestioning view of things, and just go along with it. Made me think about that with like Gore. Like there's this like, I guess I don't know how he gets there, but he like finds an oasis or something, and there's all these like gods there just like lounging about, and it's like, oh look, it's one of your kind, and
oh great,
the people that worship you. And he's like, hey, please help me, my daughter's sick, or she's dying, or she's dead, we're suffering, or all of our people, they live like a desert planet, or at least where they're at's a desert, but they're like faithful despite their plague. And he sees like the guys don't give a shit. It's like, you're there to pray, like I feed off of that. And so somehow the Necroblade just comes to him instead of like earning it or finding it from like a fight, and poof, it like attaches. And and it's so disappointing because like Venom, they've tied Venom with the Necroblade from Jason Aaron's run, so it's a lot of cool shit there, but I just see like a kernel of similarity there, which is interesting.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's definitely like a lot of it is, it's just, we take a lot of things for granted in our society, like as much as people bitch and fight on Twitter about stupid things like Potato April O'Neil, it's like, dude, we have running water. We don't die of typhoid. Like, you know what I mean? Like
we don't die of typhoid yet.
Yeah, yet. But like what we don't see, and it will be extremely kind of, I guess, cataclysmic for those that eventually do encounter it, is what happens when the lights go out. You know, what happens when the supermarket doesn't have any food anymore? You know, and yeah, we see all these like cushy, beautiful, soft things suddenly become, you know, make or break. And you know, it's kind of like the Life After Us, where you see the little poodle dogs die first, because they were, you know, they were developed in an environment that was designed to be cushy and cared for. And when that doesn't happen, you know, those are the first to go. And then, you know, we go back to the old axioms. And yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I can't quite articulate it, but I feel like you're inverting the Garden of Eden in a way with this. Is that something at play as well?
Yeah, there are some Judeo-Christian references, like the Garden of Eden. There's a lot of that in a lot of folklore and religious religious scriptures, where they talk about, you know, the innocence being stolen from people, or being corrupted, or being lost. And in this, we are kind of seeing something similar, where this Garden of Eden, this lap of luxury, is suddenly taken away from these people, and they're forced to deal with, you know, the consequences of that, kind of like the expulsion from Eden.
Yeah, well, it's funny because with the film stuff, like there's this meme between me and Rookie with House of Dragon, where like they're in the sept and they're lighting all those like hundreds of candles, and that was instantly like a meme of conversation, like who the fuck had to light all those candles, you know? That would suck.
Yeah.
And he's like, when are they talking about the gods of Game of Thrones? And I'm like, are you kidding me? And so every time in like season 1 they say something about the 7 hells, or the, you know, the 7, the mother, all that.
Silent
Like,
Sisters.
when are they talking about the gods? And like by the time we're on season 2, he's like, shut up, he knows it's coming. Like yeah, so that's fun. I wonder, you know, knowing that you're ethnically Jewish, I don't know how like devout you are religiously with that, but reading this, knowing that, makes me think about what is maybe implicit that you're pulling from. Because I feel like you're doing with the lottery and the child some kind of Moses rooted thing. The reason I mention that is because like it's fun where, you know, we'll watch this and it's a medieval based show, Game of Thrones, and he's like, why do people do this or that? And it's like, well, you gotta think, like, this is a theocracy ultimately in medieval Europe. And so when you think about Machiavelli and political ideas of the time, it's like, even if the ruling class is cruel, they're there by God's will. We can't question it. And so this is why people would go along with shit.
Yeah. Well, that's ultimately what it is. It's about control. And I've had somebody read through the entire War of the Trees, all 10 books, because, you know, they're already written. I mean, they were written 30 years ago. And you know, he's reading through it, and he's like, man, you must really hate your parents.
Like, that instantly makes me like, woohoo, can't wait.
Because yeah, I mean, like, and it's funny because I can't remember who was the reviewer, but when she was reviewing the book, she basically said that a lot of the kind of the very subtle jabs of the story seem very kind of poignant to what's happening with our own political environment, like this whole authoritarian push, you know. And it's like, how much do you let the government control your lives? You know, even though as a, you know, 30 years ago, that's not what I was, you know, it's a story that kind of transcends that. It's a little more, you know, distilled, I guess. But it's cool seeing that, you know, something that was written long before, you know, Orange Man Bad and whatever else we you know, we have in our cultural zeitgeist now. It still holds water. You know, there's still people going, wow, I can attribute that to what's happening today. That's cool. And yeah, there's, if you scroll up to lore, there's a section called World, and you can check out the map. Yeah, I threw in so one of my rules for world building is always know more than your reader, or always know more than you want to show. And so I've got all the notes and everything, all the geeked out stuff. And I figured, what the hell, I'll throw in a world map. So that's definitely something I want to put in for the campaign, is possibly some type of canvas map or some type of wall hanging or something of the continent of Foithla, which is on the world of Esperia there, and all the 7 sovereignties.
Will there be ever, if you can just keep expanding, will there be awareness of other continents?
Not to give too many spoilers away, but the culmination or the conclusion of the War of the Trees might not make this world hospitable. So let's just say that there's other places people go. There might be other lands to discover later on, but in the War of the Trees itself, its focus is solely on Foithla here.
Okay. No, that's cool.
Did you do a glossary? Did you feel the need?
Yes.
Is it in the front or the back?
So it's at the bottom there.
It's just online. It's not in the book.
Dude, I have like A through Z. That's a lot of stuff to fill.
Yeah. Like my editor was like, okay, which ones are the Crontians? Da, 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 da. You know what I mean? Like I was wondering.
Yep. Yeah. Here's the thing: is it's super useful to have because when I worked in video game development, part of my job is like kind of the documentarian was I had to have the design Bible so that. When I worked on a TV show / video game. If you guys ever heard of Sci-Fi Channel's Defiance, there's a lot of necessity for cross communication, where we're trying to coordinate things between the video game and the TV show. So I had to make basically like the lore Bible essentially, get it all made and make sure it was legible. I even had like a little sound icon next to the names, and when you press it, you can hear my voice say, what is it? Castathan, or what one of the names of the races, or whatever, indigents, whatever the hell their names were. But
Spinosaur.
Yeah, exactly. But Croyan Crane. But it's all something that I find very useful because a wise teacher once told me never remember what you don't have to, and that basically means write everything down, and it allows you to kind of not have to burden your mind, so to speak, when when you can refer back to this stuff at a later time. And as you can see, I'm still kind of adding to the glossary here.
Look at all these letters you've ignored.
Yeah,
fix this now.
Schnell. But I mean, I think it's, and again, it's not fully intended for for your audience, so to speak, but it's a good way for you to kind of compile compose your notes in a very easily digestible format. Especially, if you're building a world and you're making multiple books for it, and you have hyperlinks, if you had your own internal wiki or something, nice little quick reference. Like I think that Tolkien could have benefited from Wikipedia back in the day. All those hyperlinks. He goes on like a 16-page tangent about Tom Bombadil's hat.
God, screw Tom Bombadil.
Just put a hyperlink there. Just say his name was Tom Bombadil. Hit the link, and then there's like a crap. If you don't want to read it, you don't have to.
No, I just see people. Talk like, there's no Tom Bombadil in Jackson's trilogy. It's like, thank God.
Yeah.
Awful tangent. It just undercuts the whole world. Like, why isn't this guy helping with the ring? Screw this.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
He's an asshole.
Hey, what's up? I'm not creative. Been a while.
Hey.
He says, Iron Man, target lock charging arc reaction. Oh, yeah. Direct hit on the like button. He asks, what games did you work on?
So let's see. I worked on a game. The first game I worked on was called Project Offset. It was a startup company that was doing a fantasy first-person shooter that never ended up getting funded. We kept on getting kicked around by various publishers until eventually Intel bought the company and then killed the project. So you might find some information about that back in the day. It was featured on Attack of the Show. It was, it was on G4 TV a couple of times. But that was my first kind of foray into professional game development. And then from there, we went over to a couple of ex-Blizzard guys who formed a company called Red 5 Studios. And I worked on a game called Firefall, which was it was an online shooter game. And the company spent like Blizzard and never launched a product, so they laid off half the company. And I was on the chopping block. And then from there, I went to a company called Tryon Worlds, and we worked on Defiance, which was that TV show / video game. And then after that, I worked on various Assassin's Creed properties. Mainly, we like Ubisoft kind of has this thing called evergreen development where they kind of license out various portions of their games to different developers. And yeah, there's my fugly mug. But basically, I worked on components for like mobile games and interface elements, and I even worked on a narrative team and did art direction at one point. So yeah, and there's all the games listed. And then here's high concept media properties, which is the first, or Team A doing that second book, and the ones that did the first book. So we've got Zen, who's our editor, doing the letterers, and then Antonio, who did the pencils and inks, and then Alzir, who's done the colors. And they're the ones that are continuing that in book 2. And then the other variants.
Elvar.
Yeah.
I see some connections there. Some Elvar propaganda, perhaps.
Yeah. He's got a bias. And then the second team is Eduardo and Mika, the husband and wife team, Barbusco Studios, and yeah, they're cranking out book 2, or I should say, version B of book 2, and it's pretty sweet.
Sounds awesome.
That's cool. I don't think I've ever heard of a version 2, not just a variant cover. That's interesting.
Yeah, I figured, it's independent. It's, this is the place to experiment. Maybe others can learn from my failures.
Yeah, that's one value I've had with the posters I've had is when I look to commission someone else, it's like I got references with a range of art styles. And so it shows them it's like I'm not so stringent necessarily on like this is you got a wide berth potentially to play with the look, but everyone gets the same references for like real shit of like, all right, I want a girl look something like this. She's mixed. This is a good example. Here's a gator. Like I'm very weird where it's like Meth Gator needs to be able to somewhat disguise, so he can't have like a gator face.
Yeah.
Like this. He's got to have like Godzilla face dimensions, shit like that. So that's I've dealt with like a minute version of like this idea of multiple teams, so that's funny.
As long as they gator done, for sure.
Yeah.
Once you go gator, you want nothing later. That's what I always say.
Maybe get some Gatorades.
Guys, I gotta go.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
Maybe the last 5 hours. My family, I gotta put my kid down and get some dinner going.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. It's been good chatting with you.
So thank you so much for having me. And the books look fantastic. So really appreciate being in such good company.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So we'll do it again. We'll do it again soon. Okay, Myth?
Yeah. And
can I call you Meth?
Angus. I go by Angus. Meth Gator's just the book. But yeah, feel free to inquire about like being on a panel, just talking movie, especially with your movie background. You probably got a lot of good insight, critiquing stuff.
Oh yeah, plenty of stories.
Feel free.
For sure.
Whereas for me,
I'll hit you for panels, whatever, for not outside just the comic talk. So
yeah,
some people are just in the comics, and so they're not great panelists for anything outside of that. So you're good company.
A little one dimensional. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Alrighty.
thank you. Thank you.
Everybody go back Octagon. The link is in the description.
Hell yeah.
All right. I'll talk to you guys soon.
have a good one.
Have a good one, man.
You too. Have a good night. Thank you.
I got to go myself because I have to go use the restroom. So
That's a good excuse.
I gotta get to
you
sleep
guys
soon
were having
anyway.
a good conversation. And
That's
although, like I said, I've never worked on movies. I haven't done lighting. I haven't done all this other kind of stuff. Hey, I've ran 2 businesses. I took care of my parents. I was a school teacher. Yeah, after my car accident. So you guys, it's like, you want to talk about writing, you want to do, I can do that. I can appreciate movies, look at that. But it was definitely interesting listening to you.
Very cool, man.
Yeah, good.
I feel the same for you, man.
Yeah.
I'm glad to back your book. I hope I'm one cog more to get you funded.
Yeah.
Oh, well, and I greatly appreciate it. I mean, hey, it'd definitely be interesting. The books each have their merits. To me, like with the book I did, it's a passion project. I mean, I created 21 pages using my own money, which if you listen to EVS and everyone out, they say, hey, do 6 at the most. So you can obviously see that I really like the story. It gives me a quicker turnaround, though, if I fund, but it's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. That's being a backer when I've been able to afford it since the start of CG. With a lot of these taking years, even EVS, I can give the quality of EVS gives him way lots of slack because it's like, when am I getting this? And then you get him like, fuck, this was great. Okay, take as long as you need. But
and if you look at, hope I didn't interrupt you, but if you look at Wreck Planet, what happened during that time frame? That during those 2.5, 3 years, he had 2 lawsuits. Yeah, he had warts and all. Yeah, he had unforgettable towels. Yeah, he had so many projects. He did not manage his time because he did not understand how long it would take. He understands comics. He's a master at it. But there were just so many things going on, so many delays, then anti-CG and all this other kind of crap. And then did the warehouses and I'll tell you, man, I think he's doing a bang up killer job.
Yeah. Well, I was just getting that, like, as a creator, having this awareness.
Oh yeah.
Like 5-6 years of CG, and so many people that jump in are successful in the campaign, but actually don't know what the fuck they're doing or have ever planned. And so then you get like these delays where it's like, how did you not think of this? Why have you not, like, have you not prepped at all? You just raking in the money and like, oh, I got to make a book. That awareness as a backer myself, and the irritation, that's why I got like the GoFundMe. It's like, yeah, I know I'm asking for a GoFundMe to make a crowdfunding book, but it's like I do overtime trying to throw whatever money I can in my lunchbox. And so I want to be like, you have like half of it done or more already before I campaign. But yeah, the 6-page, at least if I get like 6 pages and then do the campaign, that'd be great. But yeah, I want at least half done, so then I can like thoroughly sell it and be like, here you go. Here's something that's like, there's proof this is actually being made. I'm not relying on your funding to make it from the complete start.
Well, that's why I list on a campaign. I actually say I invested my own money. These are how many pages I have, pencils and inks, digital, most of it. And then I have like 16 pages colored by Matt Yackey, who is a comic pro. So, and I paid for all of that. So yeah, right.
As a backer, I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hey, anytime you can mention my campaign, or if you're on a stream or whatever, I'd greatly appreciate it. And I'll talk to you guys later.
Alrighty.
It's just like when I got the trailer. When I saw Graham Nolan's trailer and Luke Pressey, he got the same guy to do Wraith of God. And then his second campaign, I was like, I need to ask this guy if he'll do a campaign. I'm not a pro, but maybe if I'll ask him. And the guy liked my idea. He's like, I like that idea. I think that'd be a great trailer. And so it costs more when you're getting a professional, but you can tell the difference. So I hope you have a good one. And hey, my siblings and my friends think I'm absolutely insane to spend thousands of dollars on a book that I might not be able to launch. But
that's how we change the world, man.
Hey, we gotta start somewhere. So keep it up, man. I'm looking forward to it. You'll get it. We just gotta keep pushing. Any last words, Chris? Or
You want to see the trailer? Speaking of trailers,
sorry,
I think if you go to the books section, there's a little video. Book spot, right there. and I think I put it at the top. Yep, right there.
Ooh, there we go. I actually haven't watched this. I just backed it.
We were all innocent once. That time is no more. The illusions of safety and assurance are inexorably dispelled by experience. On the world of Hesperia, the children of the gods were torn from their sanctuary of a blissful ignorance and unchallenged dogma. Eventually, everyone must grow up, even the eternally young. A single act of defiance set events in motion that would shatter the very foundation of existence. As the conflagration of a great war burned through the lands, unlikely allies rose from the ashes to defy extinction. The angered gods sought to rid the world of a blight that had befell their flocks. This infection was an unforgivable sin, the true knowledge of creation. Their wrath was cruel and merciless. These are the tales of the great war that destroyed our world, and of the heroes that led us to new lands beyond it. Infinito Chronicles, the War of the Trees.
Sorry, I wasn't laughing at your trailer. It's fucking awesome.
Thanks.
I gotta show you this because I was thinking about like the flip through. It made me think of this video I made. So let me this is old. Yeah, let me find it. Videos. Okay. Let me unmute this. Share screen. So this is for Cyberfrog 2.
Yeah.
Ben Skyver, creator of the $1 million independent hit Cyberfrog Blood Honey. Come, highly anticipated sequel, Cyberfrog Wrecked Planet. Witness the intense pitch by none other than Caesar himself.
Did you read Cyberfrog 1? Because this is Cyberfrog 2. He's fine. Thank you for the song I did of it.
Cyberfrog Wrecked Planet, coming soon to Indiegogo.
That's you
pretty
by
good.
Mogwai.
You don't have to tell about fudge.
Oh god.
Oh no!
Yeah, that was from my old war campaign days. I came up with that. That's why I was laughing, because it's like you could have just been like, "Yeah, it's a book. Buy it." Like,
Yeah, it's a book.
Did you read the first one?
That's right.
Yeah, I was just
man.
I happened to like catch that stream. He said that, and I'm like, clip.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, see, that's my problem. Is like, there's a comedic bone deep, very deep somewhere. There's like, when I was first starting YouTube and growing with like Ricky and company, there was like a weird span of time where I do some comedy shit. And it's like, I don't know where this is coming from. This is like divine because I'm not like a comedy guy. Like the one I did for Jeremy, like Geeks and Gamers, was I was really scared to do it because I grew up like wacko Christian. Everything's the devil, you know. I couldn't have Power Rangers because it's evil, because there's like the witch character or whatever, shit like
Oh
that.
god.
So yeah, that was, yeah. Eventually we became Catholic, and that wasn't, but that was sort of always still there because my mom was Jehovah's Witness. So there's like this implicit, like everything's evil, you know. But it definitely whittled away over time, but that was in my head when I was making this idea of like there was some early Jeremy clips of saying like, hey, just start making videos, man. And I just started grabbing other shit, splicing it in, and I made this like narrative of like Saint Germanus and and I was scared to do it. I called Rookie, I called Flip down. I'm like, dude, like I got something I think's funny, but I'm really scared of like we're conservative and there's a lot of Christians. They're gonna get triggered and think this is like sacrilegious. And I was scared. He's like, oh, this sounds funny, do it. And I'm like, all right, upload. And it ended up being a hit, so that was fun. But yeah, generally, I don't know. It's just fun to look back and like, oh my god, this was like funny as fuck still. Where did this come from?
Right.
No, that trailer, dude, with the splicing of like real footage of the forest, that was cool.
Yeah,
Oh, cool, man. Thanks. Yeah, I had a video game voice actor play the voice of
I was wondering
there.
I was wondering if you brought in some buddies from your past.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did a bunch of shorts for like those little lore dumps. So like all the elements in the glossary or those little hero things that you saw on the website. On the YouTube page for Infinitale Chronicles, you can actually get like these little 1 minute like blurbs of my voice, but I used like I was told I sounded like an Irish Morgan Freeman. I put it through my voice morpher, and it was like, "How'd you get Morgan Freeman in there?" I'm like, "That's my voice." It's like, sounds Irish. I'm like, so yeah, it was just I don't know. I mean, I figure those little things will be nice touches for people who want more than just like, yeah. Here's your book. Yep. It's just the additional stuff for the people that like to geek out.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's
Yeah.
I'm totally invested in this. This might be like my Lord of the Rings, my Game of Thrones or something. I'm like,
oh, hell yeah, man.
Oh no, that's not right. This and that and that age and blah blah
Tom
blah.
Oh my god.
I'll be one of those people. We're like,
Where are the barrel-lights?
do you believe Amazon made this? They got it all wrong.
Oh god, if Amazon made this, Ashlyn would be black with a huge fro. Kalen would be gay. He wouldn't even need his wife. He'd be like, honey, you are just a figurehead.
Yeah. Well, that'd be a weird one for you because you'd be like, oh my god, this woke. They'd probably make you do an NDA or something so you couldn't even properly review your own creation that they're adapting. Because
it's frustrating when it's like here's the thing. It's like I got no I backed a couple of comic books actually, some off of Kickstarter. I don't think they were CG or not, but there was this really badass book called Holly, Hawli, and it was like kind of like an African Wonder Woman. And I was like, this is badass. Why aren't we getting this instead of like blackwashed insert April O'Neil or whatever, Like, if you want representation, there you go, buddy. It's a good book.
How'd you spell that?
I think it's, let's see, Hawli. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Hawli. Hawli. I'm looking at it now. And it's by Etain Comics or Etain. And it's like an African Wonder Woman, and it's freaking badass.
Woke. No.
Make a video
because someone made this AI art of Zendaya's Wonder Woman, and it's like barf.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like make your own shit, and nobody will complain. You know what I mean? Like if they don't like it, there'll be nothing. Like it'll be apathy. They just won't care. That to me is how you gauge if your product is successful.
Oh, this is Ethiopian, so this is actually, I guess, actual Africans making this.
Yeah, and it's pretty badass. Ooh. Like it's not like it doesn't have this like white people oppressed us. You know what I mean? Like the modern narrative that we hear today. Like it's a good story, and it's none of this like there's people with privilege or no. What was that line in Wakanda? Oh, don't scare me, colonizer. It's like, bitch, please, like.
Yeah, like the guy that took a bullet for your brother King.
Yep.
He doesn't even know he's I don't know if he knows he's the Black Panther. It seems like he's unaware until he's after his gunshot. But yeah, he took a bullet for this guy, not even knowing that. And the first thing you hear when he wakes up is like colonizer. It's like, wow. Okay.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. Well, it's like all the reparation stuff. You do realize that American soldiers fought and gave their lives to end like slavery? Like, you'd think that would be enough for reparations, but Oh, like California now is.
Yeah, I think about that shit a lot. Where it's like, this country's so racist, and why are you trying to take everything from it? Like,
yeah. Why are you coming here and like trashing it? Like, I've lived around the world. I've lived in Japan. I've lived in Australia. Like, you want to see racist, man? Like, you don't even have the right to be offended over there. Like, why are you upset that it says no gaijin? You're not welcome. Like, shut up.
Yeah,
man. But yeah, I don't know. I just Amazon just bothers me when they took something that we really loved, like Lord of the Rings. It was basically Tolkien's love letter to British folklore, essentially. And they're like, nope, it's got to be the Benetton ad, and it's like, oh, come on, and Girl Boss.
Yeah, thanks. Let me.
Oh yeah, dude.
So, yeah, I've gotten into Hellenism. I'm still, from an atheist perspective, I guess. So my religious interest, since I'm very much on the surface level with Hellenism, is archetypes. It doesn't matter if Athena is real. Athena is the figment in my head of, like, she's the goddess of wisdom. Am I becoming wiser in the fields I want to?
Mm-hmm.
Or I have a little shrine in my bedroom of Aphrodite because she's a nude statue. So it's like, am I doing enough to be, seeking beauty within myself to attract beauty? Like that. That's the idea for me with Hellenism. It doesn't matter if they're real. The religion aspect or devotion, adherence, doesn't matter if they're real. If you're Christian and it's like, oh, actually aliens came, they're way smarter, better than us. Maybe they have a religion, but like it totally undermines this book called the Bible now, because it's written in the perspective like, this is it. God is all encompassing, and he died for earth. But that would make Jesus' story at best a demigod. He would be like in a pantheon if he is even real. It would totally undermine everything that you believe. And so a lot of people would probably kill themselves or throw away their religion and just become hedonist and revolt, whatever the case. That's not a problem for me, because it's like, this is a guiding principle idea. What were you saying?
Prometheus is the Bible.
The movie or the figure?
Yeah, the movie.
Oh no!
I love Prometheus despite its flaws.
Big buff dude eating black soup.
Watching Stargate for the first time, I rewatched Prometheus, and I'm like, wow! Like, I just watched Prometheus because Alien, and then I see Stargate, I'm like, oh my god, he's added a real depth to just a fucking monster movie. So that made me appreciate it in that way. But yeah, so that's why I have the Owl and Athena, is because of getting into Hellenism. And that whole thing was like, originally it's like, yeah, I'm an atheist, but like there's no guiding principle. It's all just fluid, whatever I'm feeling. I need something to like as a compass. And my interest in the Greeks and Romans and learning about law, and it all goes back pre-Christendom. It's all Leonidas, even though Frank Miller said that in an interview about 300 and stuff, that ironically the prototypical communist regime, Sparta, saved democracy. So without them and their rallying cry, maybe the Greeks wouldn't have united. A lot of them would have caved to Persia, and the rest is history. Alexander, Rome, Christian medieval Europe, colonization, America, and so far where we're at, all goes back to Greece. Our ideals that most Christians try to take ownership of are actually counter to a lot of Christian ideas, at least back then, and Jewish as well. And the West owes its legacy to Leonidas, because he went there after an oracle, and it's not that I necessarily believe in the oracle. There's a lot of questions about that stuff, but
yeah, all the
like, there's just a lot of synergy with that story and where we're at. And so I kind of got this idea of ancestor worship or reverence or what have you. And then that led into just Hellenism. And so, especially watching Roman stuff, and it's like, oh yeah, these American ideals we think are like so unique. It's like, that's just Roman. We're just LARPing. And then all that's really Greek. It's just the Greeks never unified. And so Greeks, I think, are owed some sort of religious reverence, whether you're worshiping them or whatnot, or modeling yourself off of them, or just paying heedance to like their legacy you're a part of. That's my religion so far. Even though it's very minimal. So yeah, that's why. But yeah, I got X-23, Wolverine, the Nexu, and Padme, because
Nice.
that's my favorite creature in Star Wars is the Nexu. And then I got Neytiri, because with the movie coming out before I saw 2, rewatched Avatar, I'm like, fuck, man, it brought me right back to 2010 when I got the DVD. And I'm like, I always wanted to watch this when I saw the trailer for the Cowboys game when they premiered it on Fox. And like, for all of, like, my complaints about Avatar are just like, there's just not enough time to get everything I want in it, like all the questions. And so I'm just so overboard enthused with that films. And then Purgatory, she's actually my first independent like finding of a comic, and just like organic. What is that? Oh my god, a demon vampire goddess. This is right. I'm an AC/DC fan. I love devil shit. So hell yeah. And yeah, then I got Mystique from Rock and Jelly Bean. I got Predator, Darth Maul, and I got a couple Meth Gator pieces. And
cool.
Slave Leia. I got Olivia. It's her zebra lady. When I got my first tattoos,
damn, dude.
Shadow of the Colossus, Killmark, and then Motorhead. Got Motorhead War Pig.
Nice. Lemmy.
It's like it was at apparently the oldest tattoo parlor in Kentucky outside Fort Knox. I don't know if they're still around because it's like an old couple, but they had this giant poster of Zebra Lady where it's not this one, but she's like sitting on a horse that looks like a zebra, and she's like got a bird on her hand. There's just something about that. Like, yeah, it's nude, but there's something like just beautiful about that. And that really got me. So that's why I got that one. I did have that version, but it got water damage. So I had to throw it away.
Damn.
Yeah, sad stuff. But oh yeah, and I got a little Bowen. Yeah, right here, Bowen design, Ghost Rider, and I'm about to change this poster. I like it, but I got Maestro from the new run of Peter David and Emma Frost from J. Scott. I'm trying to decide which one will look better.
Is that Salamandroid?
Oh, this?
Yeah, or is that Meth Gator?
That's Meth Gator. That's the.
Okay.
If you look at the thumbnail for this video, it is that.
Oh,
piece.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at a very small monitor right now. I'm like,
yeah. No, I get it. Get myself out of here. But yeah, HK, what have you been up to?
Not a whole lot. Just working, and playing Metroid.
Oh, the new one?
No, the old.
Oh, the OG?
Old one. Yeah. So, well,
hell yeah.
All the old ones, emulated and all that stuff. So.
Oh yeah.
No, I need to get a Switch to play the remaster that just got dropped.
Yeah. Or a Dolphin emulator and then a high-res texture pack.
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But, no, you're good, HK. If you gotta go, I'll just stay a few more minutes with Chris. I want to show him the couple pieces you did for me. It might take me a minute to pull them up, though.
Okay.
Sweet.
Go to my profile. I think I can.
Man.
Yeah. Okay, so let me share. Where is it? I got so many tabs.
Yeah. You ever get it where the computer starts to like crawl? It's like,
yeah. So yeah,
sweet, dude.
When I got HK to do the Thanos Minotaur for me, he's like, dude, I want to do a fan piece for Meth Gator. I'm like, he's like, pay me, you can just use it. And I'm like, hell yeah, this is amazing.
Yeah, look at that.
And yeah, I love it. Did you base this off of Razor Candy?
Not so much. I can't remember which one that I kind of did a mixture of some of the early ones that you had sent me, but no specific one.
Yeah. I got a Razor. I didn't know it at the time. Well, I did right before I got it, but yeah, there's this piece that I got on my leg. I need to get color, but it ended up this artist I liked who had a very strange style, and then I followed her on Tumblr. And then it ended up that a lot of his pieces were razor candy modeled. I'm like, holy shit, what synergy? And yeah, so it's just weird, you know, how things line up. Like my mom always liked gators, and I'm like, crocodiles are where it's at. Gators are round snout, they don't look as menacing. They're fucking American, they're not African or Australian. It's just not cool. And then meth gator, it's just like that's fucking weird. Like
no, that looks
weird
awesome,
how things
man.
wrap around. Yeah.
They having it in the background like that does not do it justice, because I'm like, what? Like kind of making out like an ink blot, like a Rorschach thing going on, and then it's like, holy shit, look at that.
Yeah, man. And then I'll have to find his Minotaur Thanos. Hold on, let me find it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm currently trying to gather some things for a project for possibly a crowdfunded comic.
Awesome.
But I've been getting I'm kind of swaying more into manga, honestly. So I'm kind of considering making it a manga.
Hell yeah. Nihongo ga dakimasu ka?
There you go.
I forgot to tell. I was gonna say that Octogone, he should try to lean into what do you call it? The furry community. He should try to hey, you should do fan art of my characters, and it might be like Fuda and stuff, but you'll get oh, what's that? And then it'll just keep growing, you know.
That's right. Maybe get an art contest going or something.
Dude, those guys make a lot of money. Hentai or the furry artists.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Whoa. I didn't realize there's a huge market for that.
Well, it's funny. My friend, he's telling me oh, you dude, the fur community, they'll love Meth Gator. I'm like, I'm not opposed.
Technically, that would be a scaly.
Yeah.
I think I'll have to go to my emails actually. So.
Damn it. Yeah, what would a sea mammal be considered? Would that be like a I don't know, a skinny?
Smooth.
A smoothie?
Smoothie.
Thank you, come again.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oddly enough, a lot of this stuff that I've been commissioned to do are they're not furries. They're not from people who are furries, but they've always been furry related.
Damn.
Yeah, this is the piece that HK did for me, pencils and inks, and then I got it colored by, I guess, an anti-CG
guy. That guy that doesn't want to follow you.
Yeah, it wasn't even
him. Yeah,
I just
he does good work too. That's a shame.
Sure. Yeah.
So once I get the campaign going, I want this for any and all comics to be like my back, boom. This is a statement of my comics.
Yeah.
And eventually there is a actual comic idea in this that I want to do. There's a reason there's only 5 gems on the gauntlet. But yeah, essentially I want to do a Black Angus series. Originally it was I was going to do this whole collective of channels associated with me and Rookie, but a lot of us fell out or just aren't creating as well. So I kind of got to just make it more just me and whatnot. But essentially it was I want this anthropomorphic Angus character to be visited by the ghost of Bon Scott, and that leads him on a quest to assemble the creativity gauntlet. So it's like Tenacious D meets Dante's Inferno.
That's awesome.
And so he's got to assemble the creativity. The original inspiration was I was doing a video about Captain Marvel in the in-game trailer. It's oh god, and Thor pulls his hammer to him, the Stormbreaker, as intimidation tactic, and he's like, I like this one, and I think it's actually a good scene. But for a reason, I kept thinking of pulling the thing, and I thought about guitar, and then I got my car after work and Let There Be Rock was playing, and then I just kind of got this synergy of ideas of light, sound, drums, guitar, rock, that could be the 5 gems, and yeah. And so awesome. then it became all right, well, is Angus just a bull character in a human world? And then I gotta create this Flashpoint idea of like an alternate world that, and then it became like this Disney idea of like 1984, and they've in this alternate dimension have like conquered everything. Everything's by Trojans are by Disney. Every film is Disney. Every film's got 100%. Everyone loves it because they're all in on like the fucking regime. But Angus is like the main character in 84. He goes to like the black market, and in this black market, he loves AC/DC, but he's never heard "Let There Be Rock," and that's where Bon Scott comes because like he's the chosen one. It's like, we need you, Angus, and yeah. So that's the overarching idea that I want to. That's the inspiration behind this Angus character art that HK had done so well. It was based on a sketch I did. That's based on like one of the Infinity War promo arts of Thanos.
Nice.
And yeah, he did a good job. The colors did a great job. And yeah, he was totally fine. But then I tagged him like, look at this great piece he's color, and then blocked. I'm like, what the fuck? Kurt Michael Russell. So once I make a campaign and that's like the back cover image for my comics, he's gonna be I'm killing with kindness. Like, look at this great piece colored by Kurt Michael Russell.
That's right.
You should commission Kurt Michael Russell for your comics.
Marquee lighting.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we talked about, where it's like, I think the real win for CG is when it's no one even cares CG or not. Kickstarter, crowdfunding, none of them care, because everyone's just like, oh, well, look, Todd McFarlane did a CG project. What do you do? Like, that's how you win.
Mean, the amount of big names that have come over from the big two, it's starting to get to that point where we are seeing that blur.
What was it? Sean Gordon Murphy. He did the
plot holes.
Bigfoot Bill, and yeah, he did his own thing, but yeah, he did Bigfoot Bill until he retracted it because of homophobia.
Oh, that's
or whatever.
right. Yeah, he did do that.
Yeah, he caved. He caved to the mob, and look, he's only making like $50K on his book, and he's the Batman guy. He did an awesome job. But
damn.
Yeah, you should read if you haven't read his Batman White Knight and Curse of the White Knight. I haven't read the Beyond Knight or whatever he brings in Batman Beyond, but it's like a huge catch-all of like not just comic Batman, but like film Batman. I think he left out the Snyder cut Batman. I think.
Oh,
it's like the one Batman that's not in the Batcave with like the different cars, but it's cool. He ends up, it's like, I don't know. Yeah, he's a Bernie bro, so he has this conclusion where it's like, that's not gonna work, man. Like, we've tried this, but it's. So I feel like some of the Bernie bro shit came into there in play, but yeah, he's good, and it's a shame. But yeah, eventually it needs to be a non-issue, and that's how he went. Not this. Unfortunately, regardless, even if like there's non-political or leftists in our sphere, it's a right-wing hate group as far as the outside is concerned, and that's going to be the sell of Marvel and DC because it's competition. They don't want another image.
Yep.
So
they're gonna poison.
When people get so defensive of like, oh, they call us this and that, it's like, well,
so what?
Who cares? This is war. This is war. You're hurting their business potential.
Yeah.
They don't want their slave labor from Singapore drawing their shit, crowdfunding and not needing Marvel for them to make all their profit.
Yeah. I mean, shit. What was the thing that saved? Didn't Marvel like go bankrupt back in like the late 90s?
Yeah, they were doing all the variants for the collectors. That's what, and then mass production because of the variants, and so it bottomed out.
Yeah, like I think we're getting to that point now where people are like, especially with like the Zoomers and stuff, like they don't have the reverence for the classics like we do. Like their first exposure to Marvel is like the Avengers. Or Marvel
the movie.
They don't. Oh yeah, have,
that's me. It's how I got into all this because of those movies.
Well, that means that those like that generation is going to be less anchored to the big two because they're like, oh, those new movies suck. Let's go get whatever the next big hotness is.
That's true. Yeah.
And that's really gonna hurt Marvel, which is good for CG because they're like,
and the it's gonna be later for Marvel, but like. The big three for DC are going to go in another 20 years or less. They're going to go open market. Copyright expires.
Yep.
They only got 100 years, so or 99, whatever the case.
Yeah, it's
public domain. It's going to go public domain, and so Mickey Mouse is about to be public domain.
That's right.
Oh boy!
Open season.
Yeah, but no, I appreciate both y'all on. Any last
Yeah,
words,
sure.
Chris or HK?
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, man. And that art looks awesome, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, keep them in your wheelhouse of potential commission work.
Yeah, I need
Hell
to.
yeah.
I need to work on some more stuff.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, it's coming.
Yeah, I loved your dad humor puns. In the
Oh.
conversation. It's good stuff. Especially me, because like sometimes, like maybe it's because I'm a single kid, but like I love being sarcastic and whatnot. But then when I hear it from other people, I don't hear it. Does that make sense?
That's right. No, I get you. Yeah.
It's like, oh no, I'm joking. I'm like, oh, I took you
you're
literally.
Yeah, that's
Like,
right. Yeah, I do the same
it's
thing.
a one way for me usually.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I hate that. It's like
You
now
forgot
I'm
to
looking
wink.
stupid.
Yeah. I didn't hear the influx.
Right.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. No, I definitely now the thing with Black Angus comic idea, if I can ever do it, it'd probably be 8 or 9 issues. It'd be like introductory issue and then like the probably 7 levels and then like the fight and conclusion with the essentially like the Disney Night King is what I was going to call it. Like this, like Bob Iger Night King character.
Nice.
Whatever. Like I name the like I was gonna have. Essentially, there's like a prequel introductory blurb of like it'd be like Flashpoint, but it's like the mascot of like fake Disney, like Gary the Gopher or whatever. They like anthropomorphize some beast, Gary the Gopher, and he like tunnels to the center of the earth at such a speed that like boom, he comes out into another earth. That's like the stupid sci-fi angle to start the story. And it's like Disney wants to control, but like they can't, so they find other universes to take control of. So that's the idea.
Disney multiverse.
That way
Yeah.
I don't have to explain, well, why is there like a animal man and no one else is? And well, I'll just make everyone animal shit. Like, it's an anthropomorphic world that's like ours. So
I
that's
blame
the idea.
Disney.
No, I do love Disney shit, but also I want to like it's just like a natural commentary, and I didn't expect some of the things to happen. Now they just add the potential of that angle of control and media and government. Like that wasn't necessarily my foreview. It was just really Last Jedi hate was kind of the whole.
Oh yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, but yeah, I appreciate it coming on. I'm going to
sure.
hit the sack.
All right.
Go back these books. The links for all 3 for Octogone, I Vengeance, and Infinitales website are in the description. Go check them out. Find their channels, whatnot, and follow them on Twitter. And follow HK as well. And see you around. I'll see you Thursday actually for All American Beef after I get off work. So talk to you Thursday, and Sunday we'll do a season finale of Last of Us recap. So see you on those future days. Take care.